And now you have the rescue teams there combing through the plane debris. We were showing you earlier how charred bodies were also taken out, and the firefighting continues for hours. Viewers, this huge plumes of smoke continue to billow for hours, and you can see that the aircraft body completely damaged. You know, Rhythm, it's very important to understand if the black box is intact, because that will be very crucial to understand as far as the cause or what happened, you know, what happened during the takeoff. That is very important for the investigation. But yes, these are the visuals of the rescue teams that were trying to douse the fire and also look for survivors. And as far as the Gujarat government sources tell us, there is no survivor.
We're also now being told that it's possible that there could be, and we're trying to find out what details are there on that. Now, rescue teams combed through the plane debris. This was a ball of fire that we saw a short while ago. There seems that the medical college building was also damaged, like we were showing you, but we're also showing you the rescue teams combed through the plane debris. This is a chilling sight that we're showing you. We're showing you how this plane had gone up, plummeted in minutes, and after that, there are firefighters at the scene, but the plane is absolutely gutted. It's black smoke. It's been charred beyond recognition. Rescue teams are now combing through the plane debris. A short while earlier, we blurred the images of the burnt, charred bodies that were seen here.
All right. Now we'll show you, viewers, about how this plane had, this plane crash. How did it, in fact, this entire flight, we can tell you details. The takeoff happened around 1:38 p.m. The scheduled, if I'm not wrong, the takeoff was scheduled for 1:38 p.m. And you can see this was at the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport in Ahmedabad. And the takeoff time was 1:38 p.m. And we'll just show you the entire trajectory, what really happened, the sequence of events. But yes, those visuals, viewers, they are bone chilling. You can understand from that impact when this crash happened, when it just went down. And you can see that it was at a very low altitude. There are many questions which I think experts can only understand here, and we'll try and get that understanding because it was at low altitude. And remember, Rhythm, this is the first fatal crash of a 787 Boeing aircraft. There have been multiple incidents in the past that have been reported on international flights, not related to India. Also, as far as the Dreamliner Boeing 787 is concerned, but this is the first fatal accident that has been reported. We have more visuals also coming in that we are bringing to you. This is BSF who's also that has also pitched in. BSF officials there on ground zero, Rhythm, who are also part of this rescue operation, and all our security forces, right from the Indian Army to the Rapid Action Force to the BSF, they're all part of this rescue effort, and we see ambulances being rushed in one after the other.
Absolutely. We stay with those visuals. We're also going to be getting you more news. We're also being told there's possible that the Ministry of Civil Aviation has also confirmed right now flight operations have resumed at Ahmedabad operations at the Ahmedabad airport following the tragic crash of Air India flight AI-171, the London-bound Boeing 787. 242 people on board had crashed shortly after takeoff. We're showing you the visuals. There have been casualties reported. 2 pilots, 10 cabin crew were in the flight. We're also telling you how Air India ignored the show cause notices that were given earlier. These visuals of the rescue operation that are taking place, we're seeing the BSF and other central forces there. Now we go to, viewers, the big story here. Republic TV has the show cause letter issued to Air India officials. The letter that is dated June 2025, it's in my hand, highlights how several aircrafts were flown with expired emergency equipments and that there was severe failure to comply with airworthiness management rules.
Yes, there was a safety watchdog that flagged negligence and ignorance. In fact, this comes after DGCA had conducted spot checks on Air India aircraft in May 2025. It is to be noted here that top Air India officials were named as offenders in the report.
Okay, I just want
Yes,
to go
that's a
across
big
to a
breakthrough.
fantastic breaking news
Yes.
that's coming in right now as we are speaking. And we're also being joined on the phone line, possibly, by... Okay.
We have breaking news that Ahmedabad Police Commissioner has said, he's told news agency, that one survivor.
That's right. The big breaking news coming in, as Rakshita was telling us. Ahmedabad top cop now says there is one miraculous survivor, 38-year-old Ramesh, who survives the plane crash. He's been taken to the hospital. He was on seat 11, it is said. He jumped out of the emergency exit, we are being told. They're saying that he's been found in the hospital. He is under treatment. He was in seat 11A. The death toll, in fact, the Ahmedabad Police Commissioner, Mr. G.S. Malik, has said the flight crashed in the residential area. The death toll may increase, they are saying. However, this one survivor, the miraculous survivor in the hospital, has been taken there. One survivor in the hospital is found. He's under treatment. His name is Ramesh. And they are not saying anything more, but they're saying he was in seat 11A and he had escaped out. But the big news that we're going to stay with, viewers, June 2025, show cause notice had been given to Air India. Several aircraft flown with expired emergency equipment had been stated in that, Rakshita.
Yes.
Despite this, in this submitting the compliance with due date mentioned, they had failed to do so. Failure to comply with airworthiness management rules. Yet Air India did not comply, ignored the show cause notices. This is the big breaking that we're doing, Rakshita.
Absolutely, this is criminal negligence on part of Air India. In fact, I'm also told that Harsha continues to get us more updates because she is getting us these show cause notices, and this exposes what's been happening all around. Harsha, tell us more about what you've found out till now. You have been tracking DGCA, and tell us more what you're learning about these lapses that have been persistent when it comes to Air India. DGCA is now mulling to investigate this.
So Rakshita, there's not one, there's not two, but apparently there are more than 15-20 show cause notices which has been issued to Air India in the span of 2 months, and Republic has never ever shied on from showing whatever the Air India has done, be it in the past also, the maintenance issue, the technical issue, snacks, whatever it has happened, we have always highlighted it, that how Air India has been sleeping under the show cause notices, not even taking seriously the show cause notices. And again, because of the show cause notices and because of non-seriousness of Air India, the entire incident which could have been averted, it led to the cost of the lives of 242 passengers. This incident could have been averted, Rakshita, if DGCA's show cause notices Air India would have taken very seriously, if they would have acted upon it, if this faulty aircraft was not allowed to operate and fly today from Ahmedabad to London. If this could have been taking the decision from the side of the CEO of Air India, the lives of 242 passengers could have been saved, but this couldn't happen. Also, there is a problem, there is an issue with DGCA as well. DGCA, after issuing show cause notice, didn't again do a follow-up with Air India. Then what have they done? Have they shut down their aircraft or not? Have they sent the aircraft for maintenance or not? Has it been sent to MRO hall or not? Nothing was followed from the side of DGCA. The aircraft was faulty, the equipment was expired, the engines were not working properly. It didn't went for the inspection for long 1 year. 1 year is a long time that the service and maintenance of this Boeing 787 couldn't happen. And we have 50 show cause notices of all these Boeing 787, Boeing 777, which were faulty. The equipments were expired, the machines were not working, there was failure, there was the technical snag in the engine as well. And Air India didn't act on any of the show cause notices. And now we are getting to know that DGCA will take an action against Air India and Boeing as well. Some of the aircrafts which are faulty would be shut down, or the services would be terminated, and therefore DGCA is mulling. One entire room of DGCA has been converted into joint operation control room of MOCA, and everything will be monitored from that side. And also there has been set of committee which has been set up for inquiry, which led to this plane crash at the Ahmedabad airport. Back to you.
Okay, we're also going to give you another angle of the story that we've been playing out right now. We're going to tell you the Republic investigation has also shown this has been a recurring fault. And this is very critical to point out. In the month of shockingly December 2024, the same plane reported a technical snag, after which the plane was grounded.
Yes, that's the same plane.
Yes.
A major fault was detected and Air India had assured that we will resolve this issue. In fact, we're
First we're going to go across, Rakshita, just sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
The video of the survivor is coming in right now. We're going across to that video. The miraculous survivor on our screens that we're going to be showing our viewers. The survivor, Ramesh. We've also got the passenger details of that particular passenger, Ramesh Vishwakumar. This is the only person who survived the attack. Like Priya's telling us, the only Ramesh Vishwakumar, 37-year-old on seat 11, survived the attack, was moving out unscathed, a miraculous survivor. There have been casualties reported, but Ramesh Vishwakumar, the miraculous survivor on this flight on seat 11A.
It will be very crucial to understand from him also, you know, what the agencies, when they investigate, because it's actually, it's miraculous, and it's, thank God, at least one life was saved. We would have loved that everybody would have been saved, but, you know, it'll be very crucial, you know, Rhythm, to understand what really happened, because one has to understand what really went wrong moments after that takeoff. Of course, Mr. Ramesh must be traumatized right now. He is under medical care, what we understand. And it's miraculous to have one survivor, because the impact, when we showed you what really happened, the way this aircraft was up in flames and it was broke completely, you know, the parts of it were broken down. He's limping, of course, he's injured, and we understand he has been given medical aid, but it'll be very crucial to understand from him what really had happened. But this survivor was near the emergency exit gate, that's what we know. And we understand that he had exited from the emergency door. He jumped out of that emergency exit. And he is the miracle survivor in this plane crash in which more than 200 were on board.
Now being told, Rakshita, he's a British national. He survived. His passenger card is with us. He's being given aid. And he escaped, the British national. He was going from Ahmedabad to UK. Ramesh Vishwakumar, one of the British nationals who's now been escaped, seat 11A is where he was sitting. And yes, you're right, he escaped from that emergency.
The CEO of Air India. I want to brief you on a serious incident.
Right, we've stayed in place.
The main point is we will do more in that field, because it is so crucial to deliver and to provide as fast.
The moment of the Air India plane crash, we're also going to be soon possibly playing out what Campbell has said. He's spoken out. He's also on the digital site. It's being put out everywhere. But first we stay with that person, the passenger on board AI 171 flight crashing in Ahmedabad, who fell off from the aircraft and he managed to survive. It's whether he fell off, whether he escaped, he's going to be telling us soon. The visuals, the video too, we continue to stay with the tail of the plane stuck atop a building that we're showing you, viewers. But the story that we just played of the one passenger, the miracle passenger on 11A who has survived. We're also now cutting across to that message from Campbell Wilson, the MD and CEO of Air India. Take a look.
I want to brief you on a serious incident that involved an Air India aircraft a short while ago. But first, and most importantly,
I would like to express our deep sorrow about this event. This is a difficult day for all of us at Air India, and our efforts now are focused entirely on the needs of our passengers, crew members, their families, and loved ones. I know that there are many questions, and at this stage, I will not be able to answer all of them, but I do want to share the information we have at this time. Air India flight AI-171, operated with a Boeing 787-8 aircraft, travelling from Ahmedabad to London Gatwick, has been involved in an accident after takeoff. Flight AI-171 was carrying 230 passengers and 12 crew members on board. Of the passengers, 169 are Indian nationals, 53 are British nationals, there are 7 Portuguese nationals, and 1 Canadian national. The injured passengers have been taken by local authorities to the nearest hospitals. We are actively working with the authorities on all emergency response efforts. A special team of caregivers from Air India is on their way to Ahmedabad to provide additional support. The investigations will take time, but anything we can do now, we are doing. We know that many people are concerned for the welfare of their loved ones. We have set up a special helpline that friends and family can reach us at. The number is 1-800-5691-444. That is 1-800-5691-444. We understand that people are eager for information. And please know that we will continue to share accurate and timely information as soon as we can. But anything we report must be accurate and not speculative. We owe that to everyone involved. For now, our teams are working around the clock to support passengers, crew, and their families, as well as investigators, however we can. Thank you.
All right, Campbell Wilson now gives his condolences, but we need to understand from him really why Air India ignored the show cause notices. Why 15 show cause notices to Air India went ignored. Why Air India did not take any action. Why, as we're showing you the moment of the black smoke, the ball of fire on your screens, this is what he needs to answer. This is what Mr. Wilson needs to really come out and answer as the MD and the CEO of Air India, and not give out just condolences and measured words, because the big picture here is Air India and Tata have to answer.
Right, absolutely. The scripted statement that was put out more than 5 hours after that tragic crash, and of course Republic TV will continue to raise those pertinent questions. This is the biggest aviation tragedy. Rhythm and me continue to get you all the latest updates. Right now we will do a very, very short break, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back with more information.
And we also continue to ask questions on accountability of Air India and the Tatas. That's our top focus right here on Republic TV. Stay with us.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिकर.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला. सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप.
Mahi sir, how much do you love your fans?
Honestly, I love my new fans. पुराने वाले बेकार में शोर करते.
Sir, fans हैं शोर तो करेंगे ही ना.
नए वाले नहीं करते. And they listen to what I say.
The new generation Orient BLDC fans. Super silent performance with voice control.
Silly me, I thought.
Cricket fans.
Hi, this is Chef Runway Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IAHM.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने.
Today at 1:30 local time, an Air India plane bound for London Gatwick departed Ahmedabad, and shortly after takeoff it seemed to have experienced some issues and stalled into a residential area and then crashed. From the footage that we can see, it's very hard to determine what the cause might have been. However, there must have been some technical issues because the pilots sent out a mayday distress signal. The plane involved the Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner is considered a new generation plane and has a great safety record. So ever since it has been introduced to service in 2011, it has never experienced a crash. Yes, there has been issues with the Dreamliner when it was introduced to service, especially with their batteries and other minor issues, but this is normal when a new plane enters service. Air India is known to have a great safety record. They operate hundreds of flights every day. They have a modern fleet of Airbuses and Boeings, and this comes to a shock for all of us. So it's very hard to determine what really caused this incident, given that the Boeing 787 is such a safe airplane and Air India has a great safety record. I'm sure the flight recorders will be found very soon as well and analyzed by a team of experts. So until we have further information, statements from Air India, including Boeing and witnesses, we just have to wait and see what the outcome will be.
हमारी बहन जा रही थी एक बजे जा रही थी एक और 10 की फ्लाइट थी और जा रही थी लंदन। लंदन जाने से पहले ही क्रैश हो गया प्लेन।
हाँ, मेरी शादी था, वो अमृतसर थी, लंदन जा रही थी। हाँ, फिर हाँ बस वो 1 घंटे में समाचार आ गया को प्लेन क्रैश हो गया है, इसलिए मैं वापस अहमदाबाद से बाहर निकल गया था।
Summer is here. Is your home ready for the heat? Keep your roof cool and your home comfortable all summer with Roof Cool and Seal. पसीना मत बहाओ, बर्जर रूफ कूल एंड सील लगाओ।
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र।
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का।
MDH की देगी मिर्च।
Mahi sir, how much do you love your fans?
Honestly, I love my new fans. पुराने वाले बेकार में शोर करते।
सर फैंस है, शोर तो करेंगे ही ना।
नए वाले नहीं करते। And they listen to what I say.
The new generation Orient BLDC fans. Super silent performance with voice control.
Silly me, I thought.
Cricket fans.
आपकी फेवरेट हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की, तो जल्दी चले आओ हुंडई शोरूम।
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
हमारी बहन जा रही थी
एक बजे जा रही थी
एक और 10 की फ्लाइट थी और जा रही थी लंदन। लंदन जाने से पहले ही क्रैश हो गया प्लेन।
हाँ, मेरी शादी था, वो अमृतसर थी, लंदन जा रही थी। हाँ, फिर हाँ बस वो 1 घंटे में समाचार आ गया को प्लेन क्रैश हो गया है, इसलिए मैं वापस अहमदाबाद से बाहर निकल गया था, तो वापस यहाँ सिविल में आ गया।
क्या अभी लग रहा है, क्या प्रशासन की तरफ से क्या हेल्प?
अभी देखने भी नहीं मिला, वो अंदर एंट्री नहीं मिली सिविल में, अभी कुछ भी समाचार नहीं मिला है।
मेरा लड़का है ना, वो ब्रेक पड़ा था खाने का, तो हॉस्टल में खाने गया था इधर, हॉस्टल में ही प्लेन क्रैश हुआ, पर मेरे लड़का को कुछ हुआ नहीं, बात हुई मेरी, पर इसके भाईबंद है ज्यादा हुए तो लोग मर गए, ये फिर मेरे लड़का को देखने जाना है अंदर मेरे को।
अभी क्या लड़के को क्या सिचुएशन है?
लड़का बोला है कि मैं अच्छा दूसरे मार से कूदा था ना, तो थोड़ा खाली लगा है, ऐसा बोला है मेरे को, पर मैं जाऊँ अंदर तो मालूम पड़े ना।
Today at 1:30 local time, an Air India plane bound for London Gatwick departed Ahmedabad, and shortly after takeoff it seemed to have experienced some issues and stalled into a residential area and then crashed. From the footage that we can see, it's very hard to determine what the cause might have been. However, there must have been some technical issues because the pilots sent out a mayday, distress signal. The plane involved the Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner is considered a new generation plane and has a great safety record. So ever since it has been introduced to service in 2011, it has never experienced a crash. Yes, there has been issues with the Dreamliner when it was introduced to service, especially with their batteries and other minor issues, but this is normal when a new plane enters service. Air India is known to have a great safety record. They operate hundreds of flights every day. They have a modern fleet of Airbuses and Boeings, and this comes to a shock for all of us. So it's very hard to determine what really caused this incident, given that the Boeing 787 is such a safe airplane and Air India has a great safety record. I'm sure the flight recorders will be found very soon as well and analyzed by
Viewers, we have Home Minister Amit Shah. He is accompanied by Ram Mohan Naidu at the crash site. We also have the Chief Minister of Gujarat. So we have the Home Minister Amit Shah, we have the Chief Minister of Gujarat, and we also have Ram Mohan Naidu, the Civil Aviation Minister, at the crash site at Meghani Nagar of Ahmedabad, where this tragic plane crash has happened. There's only one survivor that we know of, and as we speak, there are multiple updates coming in. Home Minister Amit Shah he flew from Delhi to Ahmedabad today, and he's taking stock of the situation, first-hand taking the report from the security officials as he's accompanied by the Civil Aviation Minister, and he's at the crash site trying to understand. And this is after, of course, the Prime Minister had spoken to Home Minister and also the Civil Aviation Minister. They both, Prime Minister spoke to the ministers, Home Minister and Civil Aviation Minister, as I said, and they both were directed to rush to the crash site in Ahmedabad. We first saw Civil Aviation Minister Ram Mohan Naidu, who just took stock of the situation a while back, and now Amit Shah is also being accompanied by him and the Chief Minister of Gujarat to the site, and he's speaking to the officials, taking first-hand information from the security officials and those who were present at the spot, trying to understand. Remember, this crash happened, this plane had crashed into the doctor's hostel, and now what we know is that the Home Minister is being briefed by the security officials as well. He walks to the crash site in Meghani Nagar of Ahmedabad, and after the Prime Minister directed both the ministers to rush to the site and personally monitor the situation, because this is the biggest aviation tragedy, viewers, that the country has ever witnessed, and more than 200 people were on board the flight of Air India. And what we know is that Home Minister is now going to take stock of the situation. And earlier also Home Minister, right after this news broke, Home Minister had assured all possible help from the centre to the Chief Minister. He had dialed the Chief Minister, and now he is on ground. Home Minister on ground zero. He's at the plane crash site in Meghani Nagar of Ahmedabad, and he will be taking stock of this situation. He will be briefed by the security officials and the agencies who are there. Remember, Republic TV continues to raise the questions, asking questions to Air India and Tatas, because this is there have been multiple lapses in the past 2 months. There have been reports, there have been show cause notices that have been neglected, that have been ignored very criminally by the Air India, and the DGCA had also not taken any action. If there was no response, there was no action by the DGCA either. Those questions remain, but right now, as we speak, we are getting in visuals from the crash site as Home Minister Amit Shah visits, and we have one survivor, only one survivor, who had jumped out from the emergency exit. That's what we know so far. He was on seat 11A. We have guests also joining us on the broadcast to help understand what has happened, because we've never seen such a crash before. We have Group Captain Gyan Prakash Vajpayee, retired Group Captain Gyan Prakash Vajpayee. He's a former Air India flight safety consultant. He's live with us. Also, we have Zubin Contractor joining us from Mumbai. He travelled 3 weeks ago on an Air India flight from London to Mumbai, another international flight, and he too had noticed some issues. Now, I'll just go across to Group Captain Vajpayee first. He's former Air India flight safety consultant. Sir, this is one of the biggest tragedies that India has ever witnessed as far as aviation is concerned. And what happened was, if we see that moment of crash, there was very low altitude. The pilot could not take a lot of height, and it crashed. I think after 600 meters, it crashed right after that. What we know, as per reports, there was a mayday call. In fact, that has been confirmed by DGCA. There was a mayday call made. And after that, there was no response from the ATC's what ATC had told the pilots. And sir, how do you see this? What are the possible reasons behind this? What could have happened?
Ma'am, first of all, good evening to you, my co-panelists, and all your esteemed viewers. As you have rightly said, it is one of the biggest tragedy in the aviation history in our country. As we know, most of the accident, more than 60 to 70% of accident takes place in two crucial phases of flights. One is the takeoff and second is the landing. Ma'am, you are right. Till the time aircraft had rolled out during the takeoff roll, it had absolutely, the same video I can explain in case if you can rerun this video. It had rolled out very well. It took off, means it has crossed the rotational speed, and after that unstick was done. Further, we saw suddenly aircraft, instead of ascending, started descending. So apparently it looks like there was a power loss. Now the reasons, exact reason would be found out only after detailed inquiry, when all the data are made available, the history of the aircraft, aircraft documents, pilot training, maintenance works performed on the aircraft, how old were the engine, was there any alert bulletin issued on these engines, which was performed or not, and in case pilot has given a mayday call as confirmed by you and I have read in social media also, one mayday call was issued. Means pilot was aware of that he is going into a grave emergency. It was not the pan call. Pan call is much lower. The mayday call is the grave emergency. Now suddenly aircraft, instead of climbing, it started descending. An aircraft would have reached to the height of 500 to 700 feet in between. It's very, very primitive and hypothetical. A situation could have been over there, wherein one single engine would have conked out or would have failed, or surge might have taken place. So because of abnormal power situation, there might be a possibility wherein the captain might have ordered the co-pilot that you retract the landing gear so that he gains the further height. Instead of that, if the flaps have been retracted, there is one possibility. I am not sure these will come out in detailed investigation. If you can run that video where the aircraft is landing, apparently it looks the flaps have been retracted back and landing gear is still down. Can you show that video, ma'am?
Yes, sir. I just request PCR to just play out that video when the moment of crash happened, because we have to understand that was at a very low altitude, and Group Captain Vajpayee is trying to explain to us that moment of crash video, if you could just play out. And also, I would like to understand from you about the loss of engine as a thruster. But before I put that question across to you, Group Captain Vajpayee, there you have that video, sir. There you have that video. Moment of the crash.
Ma'am, here you can see it. Apparently, we are seeing this video from the video has been shot from a distance, so it's not very clear whether flaps have been taken up or not, but you can definitely see the landing gears are still down. The procedurally, you can see the landing gear is still down. The landing gear should be first selected up and subsequently the flap should be taken up, because the flaps gives additional lift. because there is a lift formula, half rho v square s. So surface area, if it gets reduced, the lift will get reduced. There are chances the aircraft, instead of climbing, might descend.
Group Captain Vallabhbhai, just stay on with us. We also have Mr. Zubin, contractor, who was on a flight, Air India flight from London to Mumbai 3 weeks ago. Sir, tell us your experience, because you had also, observed something that was wrong in that flight. So if you could just recount that for us.
Yeah. So, me, my wife and my daughter, we traveled on 130, 131. So going to London Heathrow and returning back in a matter of 3 weeks, I assume being 130, 131, it would have been the same aircraft. I noticed a person about an hour ago on your channel was talking about similar thing where the monitors were not working. We had a similar situation throughout a flight. The aircrew keep trying to pacify us. We are going to try and reboot the system, So while going, that was the only issue. But while coming back, we faced such terrible turbulence after takeoff.
I'm sorry to interrupt you there, Mr. Contractor. We'll just go across to you. But first of all, we have some breaking news. Former Chief Minister of Gujarat, Vijay Rupani, who was on this flight, has passed away. C.R. Patel, Union Minister, has confirmed former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani has died in this plane crash. He was flying to London. I think he was going to meet his wife, and we have reaction also of the Union Minister. I think just take a listen, and viewers.
ખૂબ જ દુઃખદ બનાવ બન્યો છે અને એ પણ ગુજરાતના આંગણે અમદાવાદમાં જે ક્યારે આપણે કલ્પના નહોતા કરતા, ક્યારે આપણે ધાર્યું પણ નહોતું. એમાં ઇન્ટરનેશનલ ફ્લાઇટમાં આટલા બધા પેસેન્જરો એમની સાથે આ બનાવ બન્યો છે અને સાથે સાથે પ્લેન ક્રેશને કારણે જે હોસ્ટેલના ડૉક્ટર્સ સ્ટુડન્ટ્સ જે હતા એમને પણ જે હાનિ પહોંચી છે, આ ગુજરાત ક્યારેય ભૂલી નહીં શકે. સૌ જે લોકો આ પ્લેનના ક્રેશમાં દિવંગત થયા છે એમના.
Former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani no more, and that's sad news coming in as far as this crash is concerned. We'll just bring you another video of that plane crash, that tragic plane crash. There's only one survivor who has been reported so far. Former Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani no more, confirmed by Union Minister C.R. Patel. And there you have another visual, viewers, another visual of that plane crash. Republic TV is right now running on your screens. There you have, it just tried to take off. I think this is from near the runway, and you see this plane, it takes off, it tries to gain height. It is still not very above the ground. And this is just moments before the crash happened. Crash within seconds of takeoff happens. I'll just tell you what's happening. We are just showing you this latest visual that we have, and a clearer visual that we have of the plane crash. There you have, it goes up around 600 meters and it is down, up in flames. It hardly gains height till around 600 meters. And it just goes down, it crashes, it struggles to gain further height, it crashes down. That is the latest video of that aircraft, Air India Flight 171, that took off from the runway Ahmedabad airport. And within seconds of this takeoff, viewers, we see that it crashes down, it comes crashing down into the doctor's hostel. It's up in flames, a very, very tragic scene that you see right now. This is the latest visual we have from the takeoff, from the point of view. It gives you a clearer vision of what happened just seconds before that crash happened. It takes off from the runway, and just after a few minutes, it takes a little few minutes to take that much of height, and then it comes crashing down. A few seconds and it comes down. It comes down, crashing into outside the airport into a residential area. That is the doctor's hostel. And there you have that big explosion that happened. It was up in flames, volcanic smoke. It looks like a volcanic smoke because it's a big aircraft. It's a white aircraft. It's an international flight 58,000 liters of fuel, viewers, 58,000 liters of engine fuel, because it's a 10-hour long flight, more than 10 hours, and it had a big quantity of fuel, and it all went up in flames. We're still trying to ascertain the cause. The investigation, of course, will reveal what really happened. But this plane crash happens just after seconds. Group Captain Vallabhbhai, we have another video of that takeoff and the crash. This moment, sir, you can describe as to what you can read, sir, from this.
Ma'am, before further proceedings, in fact, it is the saddest day in the aviation history of our country, our beloved country. So, through you, my heartfelt condolences to all the deceased of this accident, and pray to Almighty that all the survivors may get well soon. As far as this takeoff, you were showing the video, you can see the takeoff was as smooth as usual, absolutely nothing wrong. But sudden power loss, the same thing which I was trying to explain to you, something unusual has taken place after that. However, these things will get recorded, because in Air India also we have got a FOCA, that is Flight Operations Control Assurance. So there, all the flight parameters gets recorded. Subsequently, when during detailed investigation, when the DFDR and the CVR, that is a digital flight recorder, and the cockpit voice recorders are decoded and replayed and heard, and other details, the aircraft history, the weather, other maintenance, or any sabotage angle was there. The sabotage need not to be explosion, because straightway if somebody says sabotage, most of the people will get rejected, because there is no explosion has taken place in here. However, sabotage can take place in the form of contamination of the fuel, or contamination of food, or there could be many forms of the sabotage. How active was the pilot and co-pilot? These are the hypothetical situation. What was the fatigue status of them? These are the hypothetical things. Only the full-fledged investigation will reveal. And in fact, in most of the cases, they also come out with most probable cases. And as far as my co-panelist, I don't know he's here or left, I slightly beg to differ with him with the utmost humility that infotech power off or some AC is not working definitely are not the root causes of this particular accident.
You know, sir, sources from Air India also told us earlier in the day that the aircraft could not dispose its oil in the plane, and with it only the plane crashed. And that was, of course, one, as you pointed out, about oil or possible contamination, because you're also saying if at all there is any, if at all, of course, if there is any foul play.
Kindly come again, ma'am, please.
So there was an information from our sources in Air India that the aircraft could not dispose its oil in the plane, sir.
Could not dispose oil in the plane?
I think there was
or refueling has not taken place, or the oil replenishment on the engine has not taken place. That's very, very unlikely.
Okay.
Because there is a detailed checklist. The maintenance engineer goes there, the technician goes there, and they measure the oil level. And in case if there is any replenishment is required. However, in case if this aircraft has undergone any major maintenance services, when it has gone, if it has gone just a day before, then those activities are to be checked in detail. If it is 1 month or 2 months back, and after that aircraft had flown satisfactorily, then that issue also can be ruled out.
So, as a layman, if I want to understand, sir, so maintenance, lack of maintenance could be one of the attributed reasons, a reason that could be attributed to it?
At this moment, I can't say what is the exact reason, but if you ask hypothetically, yes, you can't rule out, because there is a FedEx system which controls the entire engine operation. So, but again, one engine getting affected is likely, but both the engines getting affected, then the fuel contamination theory may come up, which is affecting both the engine. But all these hypothetical points are not very common in the aviation.
Yes, just before I let you go, because we have to take breaks. Zubin, contractor, you were interrupted that time. Please just continue to what you had witnessed. Very quickly, I want to learn from you. What did you experience 3 weeks ago?
Yes. So, while going to London, we had this major issue where, they kept pacifying us that this is an old aircraft. So, the screens tend to not work. So throughout the 9-hour flight, we had no screens. But our return flight was very unusual. The minute we took off, I think it was on the 23rd of May, when we left London, within a few minutes, the kind of turbulence we faced.
Yes.
Believe me, I'm a seasoned flyer. I've never experienced such turbulence. Even today, I was wearing a neck brace in my office all day to ease the neck pain. And the minute we came closer to Bombay, the pilot started announcing that if we are unable to land in Mumbai, we may need to land in Ahmedabad. That's the closest airport. We made a landing attempt in Mumbai which failed. I don't know if the wheels touched, but at least from the window, we landed.
Right.
And within seconds, the pilot took a decision to abort, and we again took off.
Okay.
From the.
So many operational issues indeed, Mr. Contractor. We're short of time right now, but thank you so much for joining us, Subin Contractor. And of course, thank you for raising those issues, and these issues must come to light and there must be investigation. Thank you so much, Group Captain Vallabhbhai, also for helping us understand what could have happened. But right now, we will be stepping into a short break. Viewers, crash that happened within seconds of takeoff, and there have been only one survivor that we know of. We will be right back with the Super Prime Time debate with Arnab Goswami at 8 p.m. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. रहो बेफिक्र.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ. डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा. अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ. सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र.
MDH की देगी मिर्च,
देगी मिर्च का तड़का, अंग अंग फड़का.
MDH की देगी मिर्च.
Mahi sir, how much do you love your fans?
Honestly, I love my new fans. पुराने वाले बेकार में शोर करते.
Sir, fans हैं, शोर तो करेंगे ही ना.
नए वाले नहीं करते. And they listen to what I say.
The new generation Orient BLDC fans. Super silent performance with voice control.
Silly me आए तो और.
Cricket fans.
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने.
हमारी बहन जा रही थी लंदन.
1 बजे जा रही थी.
1:10 की फ्लाइट थी और जा रही थी लंदन. लंदन जाने से पहले ही क्रैश हो गया प्लेन.
हाँ, मेरी साड़ी था, वो खम्बीसर थी, लंदन जा रही थी.
हाँ, फिर?
हाँ भाई, 1 घंटे में समाचार आ गया को प्लेन क्रैश हो गया है, इसलिए मैं वापस अहमदाबाद से बाहर निकल गया था, तो वापस आए सिविल में आ गया.
क्या अभी लग रहा है, क्या प्रशासन की तरफ से क्या हेल्प?
अभी देखने भी नहीं मिला, वो अंदर एंट्री नहीं मिली सिविल में, अभी कुछ भी समाचार नहीं मिला है.
मेरा लड़का है ना, वो ब्रेक पड़ा था खाने का, तो हॉस्टल में खाने गया था इधर, हॉस्टल में ही प्लेन क्रैश हुआ. पर मेरे लड़का को कुछ हुआ नहीं, बात हुई मेरी, और इसके भाईबंद है ज्यादा हुए तो लोग मर गए. ये फिर मेरे लड़का को देखने जाना है अंदर मेरे को.
अभी क्या लड़के को क्या सिचुएशन है?
लड़का बोला है कि मैं अच्छा दूसरे माल से कूदा था ना, तो थोड़ा खाली लगा है, ऐसा बोला है मेरे को. पर मैं जाऊँ अंदर तो मालूम पड़े ना.
Today at 1:30 local time, an Air India plane bound for London, Gatwick, departed Ahmedabad, and shortly after takeoff, it seemed to have experienced some issues and stalled into a residential area and then crashed. From the footage that we can see, it's very hard to determine what the cause might have been. However, there must have been some technical issues because the pilots sent out a mayday, a distress signal. The plane involved the Boeing 787-8.
Told for the longest
longest time, get your act together, but they couldn't care less. And the Tata Group completely backed the dysfunctional CEO, and now they'll take action against him. We've been telling them for the longest time, just because they're a big group, they can't get away with this. There has to be accountability. You can't own Air India, and when it happens, pass on the responsibility to someone else. You can't be Diageo owning RCB, letting people die. The problem is with the big companies in this country, they think they can get away with anything. And this is terrible. And this has been told. And every time we have mentioned these things in the past, and we have mentioned mistakes that the Tata Group is doing, mistakes with Air India, the entire Tata Group comes out in its defense, and they think this is meddlesome media asking them questions about how they are running Air India. Well, if they don't have the competence, they can get away with it. We do not need these groups to run the airlines of this country. This is a complete disgrace.
Co-powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
Amity University has one of India's largest merit scholarship programs for brilliant students. Over 9,000 students with 90% plus in their 12th boards are currently at Amity, benefiting from the culture of academic excellence and focus on research and innovation. To be with like-minded students who want to be successful, apply at amity.edu/scholarships.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
Mahi sir, how much do you love your fans?
Honestly, I love my new fans. पुराने वाले बेकार में शोर करते।
Sir, fans हैं शोर तो करेंगे ही ना?
नए वाले नहीं करते. And they listen to what I say.
The new generation Orient BLDC fans. Super silent performance with voice control.
Silly me आए तो और
Cricket fans.
मेरी नई हुंडई एक्स्ट्रा तुमने भी तो कल नई कार ली है ना, उसमें भी तो होगा ना ये वॉइस इनेबल सनरूफ
है ना अंकल, सिंगर इनेबल सनरूफ।
और बेनिफिट्स ये तो मिले होंगे ना?
ये मिला।
हाँ? हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की।
Hi, this is Chef Runway Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IAH.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
Today at 1:30 local time, an Air India plane bound for London, Gatwick, departed Ahmedabad, and shortly after takeoff, it seemed to have experienced some issues and stalled into a residential area and then crashed. From the footage that we can see, it's very hard to determine what the cause might have been. However, there must have been some technical issues because the pilots sent out a mayday, a distress signal. The plane involved the Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner is considered a new generation plane and has a great safety record. So ever since it has been introduced to service in 2011, it has never experienced a crash. Yes, there has been issues with the Dreamliner when it was introduced to service, especially with their batteries and other minor issues, but this is normal when a new plane enters service. Air India is known to have a great safety record. They operate hundreds of flights every day. They have a modern fleet of Airbuses and Boeings, and this comes to a shock for all of us. So it's very hard to determine what really caused this incident, given that the Boeing...
What it takes to report from the front lines: accuracy, urgency, courage and responsibility. At Republic School of Journalism, you will be trained for that reality. It's not a theory, it's a live learning inside a working newsroom from day one. If you want to report the truth when it matters the most, RSJ is where you begin. Courses begin from June 30th. Apply now.
Just report from courtrooms on verdicts, I decode them. From breaking news to complex legal verdicts, every word is backed by law. At the Republic School of Journalism, you will learn how to report on legal issues with accuracy and speed. The RSJ Diploma starting on the 30th of June. Apply now.
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate. Arnab Goswami on the debate.
On the show tonight, a massive and biggest tragedy to have hit the Indian aviation sector. What went wrong with Air India Flight 171? At 9 p.m. tonight, why I believe that the Tata Group has a lot to answer for. The Tata Group, ladies and gentlemen, owns Air India. The Tata Group has really messed up the management of Air India, and the Tata Group cannot give templated answers to the people of India anymore. Terrible day today, terrible tragedy, one of the most catastrophic air disasters in the history of Indian aviation. And ladies and gentlemen, Air India Flight 171, and that is the visual of it taking off from the Ahmedabad airport. And in all of 49 seconds, while you see that video, the plane takes off, and at one point of time, about 15 to 20 seconds into takeoff, seems to be appearing not to be gaining height, and then rapidly descends flight. This is a long shot taken on a CCTV camera. And within 49 seconds of taking off from Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport, it ends up in a massive explosion with 58,000 gallons of oil on that plane. Nobody survives that terrible air crash. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a plane that operated 5 days a week. It's a high-frequency plane. It's a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, and it entered the service in 2013. It is relatively young. It is not that old an aircraft. So this is clearly something extremely serious. We're told that both engines stalled. It's a complete failure. There was a mayday call within seconds of the plane taking off. And it was all over with the plane landing into a residential area. It landed on top of a building which houses a hostel for medical students. There were at least 50 students and their teachers inside in the mess. There was a huge explosion. There are many, many casualties on the ground. A huge diameter perimeter in that area was totally scalded. The building itself top of which the plane landed has hardly survived the impact of that. And ladies and gentlemen, 169 Indians have died, 53 British nationals, 7 Portuguese and 1 Canadian on board. This is a terrible incident that happened after the plane took off from runway 23 at Ahmedabad airport. But the point I'm trying to make tonight is this. If the Tata Group thinks that it is a very big group, it's going to get away with it, it should not. The Tata Group took over Air India with the promise that it would improve the airline. And Air India, under the watch, direction, leadership and guidance of the Tata Group, has gone from bad to worse. It is a walking disaster. There are so many incidents that have happened, so many glitches, so many hydraulic failures, ladies and gentlemen. So many avoidable incidents, so many passenger complaints, and the response of Air India, especially since the Tata Group took over. The Tata Group has a hands-off distance from Air India. When it took over Air India, it used the Tata name. It wanted it to be known that Tatas have got Air India. But after taking over Air India, they are a hands-off distance from whatever goes on. There's this man called Campbell. He's an absolute disaster. Campbell Wilson. I have investigation reports with me, ladies and gentlemen, which prove what Campbell Wilson and Air India management have been up to. I don't come unarmed I have papers with me which show not one, not two, but almost 10 show cause notices and investigation reports against Air India by the DGCA. I have it all in my hands. And the matters are so serious. I'm going to tell you about what Air India has been up to, that I'm compelled to say that I think the DGCA, which comes directly under the central government, the government of India, has given the Tata Group's Air India an extremely long rope, thereby putting the lives of Indian passengers in jeopardy. The DGCA has to answer. This is not a political issue. The fact of the matter is, viewers, I'll give you some examples here. This investigation report, which I have with me, which is extremely recent, I think a few days back, says that there are offenders named Sri Campbell Wilson, Air India, Mr. Shubhro Bosch, Continuing Awareness Manager, Air India, Mohit Nanda, Quality Manager, Air India, and Prashant Gosav, Head of Planning, Air India. And it is written in this report, it's a government document of the Modi government. It says the alleged offenders have failed to ensure the duties and responsibilities mentioned in the approved continuing airworthiness management exposition. During the spot checks and review of the airworthiness review certification, intimation documents conducted by the inspection team, the following findings were found: that several aircraft operated by the organization, which is Air India, were flown despite emergency equipment being overdue for maintenance inspection. Can you believe it? It also says the aircraft was operated during the interval in which emergency equipment inspection was overdue. It says it was found that multiple aircraft from Air India were operating without updating the certification of registration and the corresponding owner's plate. And aircraft so-and-so, 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 ladies and gentlemen, were operated despite being overdue for inspection of escape slides. Critical emergency equipment was not inspected, not working. The absence of timely overhaul and inspection is non-compliance with the rules, so on and so forth. And this is extremely recent. This is one show cause notice, ladies and gentlemen. And it is dated the 3rd of June 2025. And DGCA, Director General Civil Aviation, with the Deputy Director of Airworthiness, Animesh Garg, gives 15 days to Air India to respond. And I want to tell the DGCA, this was one of the issues you found. Had you put this organization, Air India, owned by Tatas, on serious notice, rather than give them a long leash, maybe the crash would not have happened. Now, I'm not saying this crash happened because of what was found in this report, but the fact is, an overall sense of we give a damn approach is there as far as Air India is concerned. Here is another show cause notice dated the 5th of June. This one is about procedures specified in Maintenance Control Center procedure manual not followed. It says that the plane passenger seats are not even equipped with serviceable and airworthy seatbelt assemblies. Complaints come from Transport Canada Authority. The Canadians are complaining about Air India. And just a show cause is given. Ladies and gentlemen, it is also written here that Air India as an organization has been found non-compliant of regulatory provisions, so on and so forth, and therefore it is proposed to take enforcement action as per duties. Sri Campbell Wilson is called upon to show cause. This is in one matter. Air India cannot deny it. 3rd of June 2025. Several aircraft have been flown with expired emergency equipment detail as mentioned in this report below. If you see these reports, you would wonder what Air India is up to. And we trusted the Tatas to run Air India. Ladies and gentlemen, not just this, there is also a complaint which is here by the name of a person called Akanksha Singh, who is a crew rostering manager with Air India. And in this complaint, which is sent as recently as a few days back, 11 June 2024. Okay, so this goes back, and there is a reminder sent on 15 January 2025. In this letter, it is written by an Air India crew member, a letter written to the Prime Minister's Office, Secretary, Ministry of Civil Aviation, Chief Ethics Officer of Tata Group, so on and so forth. It is written that there has been a serious security breach on an Air India ferry flight which departed from Toulouse, France. And it is mentioned here that individuals from Air India, including their group head of government risk and compliance and the head of customer experience, they entered and gained unauthorized access to the cockpit. This is the worst crime that can be committed. And it is written here, these accused individuals are chief executive cadre and also work with the board of Air India and hold significant influence within the Tata Group. And the letter says there's a strong reach in bureaucratic and political circles they have, so the investigation may get compromised. It is requested to keep this under investigation. Weaknesses in Air India's existing safety protocols, as these incidents of unauthorized cockpit entry have happened in the recent past as well. This is a sincere letter that has been written. What did the DGCA do? What did the Civil Aviation Ministry do? I am not saying that what this crash, which has happened today, is a direct consequence of these issues. But what this shows is that there is a huge mess within Air India. And Air India thinks it can manage the situation, at least that's the sense we get. Well, this is beyond being managed. At 9 o'clock, I will also expose a bigger story of how Air India is sending these wide-bodied planes, including the one which has crashed today, to a Turkish company called Turkish Technic, which is apparently owned by Turkish Airlines, which is in turn minority owned by the Turkish government. This is the information I have. Now, if after Operation Sindoor and during Operation Sindoor, a Turkish company called Celebi Airport Services had its security clearance taken away, then the nation wants to know whether Air India was continuing to work with a company called Turkish Techniques, and was this company doing the heavy maintenance for the wide-bodied planes, including the one which crashed today? This is a very serious question that I am asking, and Campbell Wilson and the Tata Group must give us a reply which we'll carry in length. I am asking a specific question of the Tata Group today. As an Indian citizen and as an Indian journalist to a company which says that it will uphold the national interest, my question to the Tata Group is whether after Operation Sindoor, these wide-bodied planes, including the one of the type that crashed today, were sent to Turkey for heavy maintenance. Is there no other company in the world which can do heavy maintenance for these planes? Is it also true that our Air India planes were managed all this while as far as maintenance by a company called Air India Engineering Services Limited? And is it true, my question is, whether Air India Engineering Services Limited, which are AIESL, which did heavy maintenance for our aircraft, stopped doing this after the Tatas took over, and the Tatas gave the contract to a Turkish company, which has in turn a business going on with Boeing, an understanding with Boeing. Is Turkey a friendly country of ours? Was Turkey a friendly company even before Pahalgam? Why did the Tatas why did Air India send these aircraft to a Turkish company? Now, the Air India CEO and MD has been reported by saying that it is part of a global business and global supply chain. But this is like saying, would the United States give maintenance for its domestic planes to an enemy country? Why is maintenance, repair and overhaul of several Air India planes, including over 60 wide-bodied planes, being done allegedly by a Turkish company? And Air India said that it will review its arrangement with this Turkish company, but has that review been completed? Has all sending of planes for maintenance to Turkey stopped? Or did they say they would reduce the number of planes they sent to Turkey in the expectation that if media attention goes away, they can continue to do what they do? See, Air India runs on trust, and it was on the basis of trust that the Tatas were given Air India. Has that trust been maintained if you give or outsource these duties to Turkish companies? Running Air India is not a small job. It will require a fair amount of risk assessment, geostrategic assessment of priorities. You will not send Air India planes to Pakistan for maintenance. Then why would you send Air India planes to Turkey for maintenance? Was it about commerce? Was there a cost advantage, a cost arbitrage involved here? Could the planes not have been sent anywhere in the world, Europe, America? Is this the only place? And if it was being done by Air India Engineering Service Limited, did Air India buy in Air India Engineering Services Limited when Air India was taken over by the Tatas? Or if it was shelved, then why was it shelved? Now, these are questions you may say are not relevant at this moment, but I think they are. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll bring you a small news report on what happened, and then we'll start our conversation and debate.
Ahmedabad in Gujarat turned the site of India's biggest aviation disaster in recent memory this afternoon. Ill-fated Air India flight AI-171 from Ahmedabad to London with 242 on board crashed minutes after takeoff. Just off the runway 23 of the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel airport, captain of the flight, a veteran of over 8,000 hours of flying, issued a mayday call. Barely 800 meters in the air, the engine stalled. There was not enough lift. The thrust was not pushing the aircraft enough to rise further. The Ahmedabad ATC could also see the Air India 171 stalling, losing height, and immediately asked for more details. But in a moment, before any reply from the cockpit, the plane had turned into a fireball, crashing into the residential area of Meghni Nagar, abutting Ahmedabad airport. On board was also Gujarat's former Chief Minister Vijay Rupani, and the Ahmedabad Civil Hospital Administration has confirmed casualties on the ground, as the flight had crashed into a residential complex which included a students' hostel. The numbers could be upwards of 300. As agencies secured the crash site for investigation, air is thick with tragedy and some questions. Was the crash a direct result of poor maintenance? Passengers on board the same aircraft on its inbound journey from London have come out with videos of maintenance issues.
You know, the compressor was either going on, off again and again. Second thing, as usual, the in-flight entertainment was not working. But as I told you, there was some silver foil and a black wire and some tissue papers hanging up near the overhead cabin. But the flaps things, the flaps during takeoff and landing were kind of unusual. In fact, the left side of the wing only. The left side of the wing, or I don't know, there was something unusual in that, which I noticed.
Show cause notices from the Director General of Civil Aviation to Air India prove the issue was discussed. Did the DGCA give a long rope to Tata's owned Air India? 15 days for a reply to a serious maintenance lapse. Was the DGCA being soft on Air India? Air India CEO came out with a templated statement.
There's not one, there's not two, but apparently there are more than 15-20 show cause notices which has been issued to Air India in the span of 2 months, and Republic has never ever shied on from showing whatever the Air India has done, be it in the past also the maintenance issue, the technical issues, snacks, whatever it has happened, we have always highlighted it that how Air India has been sleeping under the show cause notices.
While an all-encompassing investigation would get us closer to truth, we need to ask these questions to Air India, to Boeing, to DGCA, so that no more lives are lost to incompetence and carelessness.
I'm joined by former Union Minister, Civil Aviation Minister, Patel with us today. He's a Rajya Sabha Member of Parliament. He was Civil Aviation Minister from a period of 2004 to 2011. Long stint there. Mr. Patel, this terrible tragedy which has happened, and some facts have come out after that. I was concerned when I got to know that the maintenance of some wide-bodied aircraft is happening by a Turkish company because Celebi lost its contract. But I'm not sure if this contract for maintenance of wide-bodied aircraft, almost quite a few of them, is still being done by a Turkish company called Turkish Technique. Now, this particular plane did not go to Turkish Technique. It went to Mumbai for maintenance. But isn't it strange that even after Operation Sindoor, this contract has not been called off yet? it's still going on.
Arnab, my condolences to the people who died on this flight, and it's a terrible tragedy. It's really very, I would say, disheartening to see such visuals of today's crash. Having said that, this particular plane was not very old. It's about 11 years old. So in aviation parlance, an 11-year-old plane is and any aircraft for that matter is as good as it is maintained. If this aircraft was maintained in Mumbai, it must have been with AIESL, which you were mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
Which is the old company, which is a part of earlier Air India before privatization, which was run by the government. And still AIESL is run by the government. They have fine engineers. They've been maintaining Air India aircraft since inception. And I really don't know about Turkish techniques, why that is being chosen, because Air India Engineering has been maintaining our aircraft for the longest period of time. And they have all the capabilities in-house. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised that AIESL would be maintaining aircraft for some other country aircraft rather than our aircraft going out of the country, at least in the case of Air India. So to that effect, you have a point. But the other part is about the security and the other issues which you mentioned. Well, of course, that is a country issue, and we have issues with Turkey as of now, and it's been there for a while. And that's why the Turkish Techniques should not be a preferred company, and especially now after Operation Sindoor and the entire the ecosystem around us in the environment, in the vicinity. I think we should be careful and we should avoid sending our planes to Turkey.
Does DGCA not crack the whip enough? You've been Civil Aviation Minister for 7 years. From the correspondence going on, even when there are emergency guidelines being flouted, and it has been found, and Air India has been indicted for it. Even then, a long 15-20-day period is given to send a reply, very sarkari, very slow approach, very bureaucratic approach. There doesn't seem to be any urgency in this correspondence between Air India and DGCA.
Well, Arnab, I don't know about this specific instance, but I can tell you in general that, trust me, I don't know about any particular incident which took place, but largely our safety standards, protocols of DGCA and also of the airlines is quite contemporary and on par with most of the developed countries in the world. And our protocols, I would not hesitate to say, but are better than many other countries. So let's put it in perspective that protocols are there. Now, it's a fact of the matter is how much do we follow the protocols or not? That is a matter of investigation.
No, but the other thing is that there is this halo that is put around Tata Group that they are beyond question, always assumed they are the best at everything. I mean, just because JRD Tata was once associated with the airline does not mean they know how to run an airline today. Wouldn't you agree that there have been so many complaints from passengers, so many faults, so many incidents, fairly serious incidents, so many show cause notices that Tata Group has got it all wrong? Today, you ask anybody today, they'll say the airline is worse off today than it was before the Tatas took over. And that can't just be anecdotal or impressional.
No. I see, now let's deal in two parts, the safety part and the other aspects.
Answerability of Tata Group.
The running of the airline per se really has not changed much in spite of privatization. In fact, passenger complaints are at an all-time high.
Yeah.
I myself have been a victim of many a flight where so many things have not worked on the flight. But that is one aspect which is the interior part of the and the softer side of the airline. The other part is, of course, the technical side and the other protocols of safety and maintenance and also of flight training. I don't think the Tatas or anybody has a shortcut available to them because the DGCA itself and the protocols which have been put in place by the airlines, Air India in this case, even before privatization, has always had very strict protocols on flight training and maintenance and so on. So I don't think those protocols have been compromised.
No, they have.
But
They're flying
overall,
without proper emergency equipment, with old certificates, registration, old registration.
I tend to agree with you to an extent. That,
Certificate of airworthiness was suspended.
I agree with you that the Tata Group, as such, has not been able to do massive, an upgrade of the airline as such, because it's more than 3 years now. They've got the control of the airline. If 3 years is a long time, I would say, and they really have not been able to get their act right. That part I fully concede.
Yeah.
But in terms of maintenance and all those other issues, I tell you, please, Arnab, I would only say that let the Accident Investigation Bureau, now which is an independent organization, it is not under DGCA, it is not under the government, and AIB, we should wait for the investigation report, and I'm sure they will, if there are some shortcomings, they will be able to point them out.
Thank you very much, Praful Patel. You bring your experience to the table on this one. Thank you for speaking to us. Thank you so much. Praful Patel, ladies and gentlemen, former Civil Aviation Minister for almost 7 years. I have my panel tonight. I have Harsha outside DGCA. I have Sambhavi and Chandrakala outside Air India. To Sambhavi and Chandrakala, very briefly, in a minute, 30 seconds each, what is Air India saying?
Well, Air India refused to go on record with anything, but I did manage to speak to one of the PR members, and they just said that they're going to release an official video statement by the CEO of Air India, and we got that about an hour ago. We also tried to talk to the security personnel. They also refused to go on record, and they did mention that Air India, especially for today, had to employ somebody from outside the company, a third-party company, to look after the security details for the day.
Okay, maybe you can pass the mic to, and the next question I have for Chandra is whether Air India is being stopped from issuing a statement on its own by the government authorities. Is there anything like that?
Yes, absolutely. As we have seen that in the morning, there's a horrific incident that took place. And of course, Air India has been completely tight-lipped over the situation, given the fact that, of course, it's a very grim situation. And of course, as my colleague has already mentioned, that we have been standing here outside Air India since hours now, and they have refused to come up with a statement. We have spoken to different PR spokesperson here, and I have been pushing for it that some spokesperson could speak to us. Well, we could see that the Air India CEO has released a statement where he has actually mentioned, expressed concern about the fact that, Air India is now working with the authorities to completely support the emergency response team. And of course, he has also said that the investigation will take time.
Yeah, they're buying time on this, no doubt about it, Chandra. Standard tactic by Air India, like all plane, airline companies. Harsha, what about the DGCA? The minister is in Ahmedabad. What is DGCA saying?
Arnab, you will be very surprised and shocked if I tell you that DGCA DG left the premises of DGCA in the afternoon only. The time when I was speaking to you, just after half an hour from the back entrance, from the back door exit, he left the DGCA office, and it's been 7 hours to me. I'm standing outside DGCA office, and the DG, who is required to be in the control room, the control room which has been set up in the AI operations room in the DGCA official, the DGCA important DG who should be here, he has left. He has left in the afternoon. The deputy DG, DGCA DJ, none of the officials are right now in the DGCA. They have just told us that the committee has been set up. DGCA separately is inquiring on the reasons behind the plane crash, and also inquiry has been set up which will be done by AIB, one of the wing of the ministry. It will also be inquiring. Independent inquiry will happen in the case, and also the officials will be travelling to Ahmedabad. This only has been told to us off cam, but DGCA DG is not right now here. He is not right now. Since afternoon he is not here, Arnab. That's we have been trying to get a hold of him to ask some stringent questions to him, strict questions.
Okay, let me analyze what's happened, because a lot of questions now, if we see this plane taking off and landing, and I have my excerpts with experts with me. I'm first joined by Sanat Kaul and Miss Captain Amit Singh. Captain Amit Singh, to you first. You're an aviation safety strategist, and Sanat is chairman of the International Foundation for Aviation, Aerospace and Drones. Captain Amit Singh has over 18,000 flight hours on Boeing 777 and Airbus 320. So Captain Singh, if you see this plane take off and land within 49 seconds, your thoughts on what could have happened?
A very sad moment, but if you analyze right from the visuals that you see, the moment the aircraft lifts off, there's a plume of dust which goes on the side.
When it takes off?
As it lifts off. If you roll back.
Can we roll back? Can we roll back? Can we roll back? I'll just roll that back. You can speak over it.
Yeah.
Can we roll back to the visual? We have 2-3 angles when the plane takes off.
So that is when the aircraft lifts off, and these are called vortices. The wings produce these vortices. So there is dust basically, yeah. So dust is lifting, which means that there is no paved surface there.
There's no
aircraft has gone beyond towards the end of the runway, edge of the runway. Normally, you don't see every time the aircraft takes off this kind of plume on the side, the rolling thing.
Okay, so the aircraft has taken off with difficulty.
Yeah, so there was some kind of difficulty which delayed the aircraft rotation. Normally, when the aircraft takes off, within first 5 seconds, the crew puts the landing gear up, which means the wheels up. Here, the wheels are still down, which means there is some distraction which prevented the crew to put the wheels up. Either an engine failure or the aircraft was overloaded. The takeoff was so delayed that they were panicking. So there was something which distracted the crew, which prevented the crew to forget the landing gear.
Are you indicating this is crew error?
No, it could be anything. An engine failure during takeoff, it could be a combination of errors. So if your engine thrust is reduced by an engine failure, for example, and simultaneously the aircraft is overloaded, which means somebody has put the wrong numbers. And the performance is miscalculated.
Can an engine just fail like that? Sanat Kaul, what's your reading, sir? Or what could have happened here, sir?
You know, as far as the particular crash is concerned, it's very difficult to give an analysis at present, because it took off and it was able to get the thrust to take off, but then something happened. Now the weather was clear, bird hit was not an issue because there are 2 engines, at least one engine would have survived, both engines collapsed. So what happened is difficult to analyze for a person like me who's not a technical person to say. However, you were talking about the Turkish technology tech company which was doing the maintenance and all. Well, I would like to go further, and I said that even the ground handling is done by Turkish companies. And I had written a number of times that Turkey is not a dependable partner for India, and we should not allow them to do ground handling, which is very sensitive, because even in this crash, I will not discount sabotage just now.
Sabotage?
The technical team.
Sir, sabotage, you're saying, sir?
Hello?
You're saying you can't rule out sabotage?
No, I cannot. You see, once the inquiry is done and let them say that there was no sabotage, then it's fine. But all I'm saying is that why are we having even a company belonging to a country which is hostile to India, of which I have written earlier, and there's been no reply, nothing, so no reaction, to say that, let's not have ground handling.
Did you write regarding Celebi, or did you also write regarding Turkish technique? Because Turkish technique, I'm also told, is links or to both.
Yes, absolutely. So these are issues which are general. Why this particular crash took place, I think it's better to wait for the inquiry report and get the black box to determine.
The black box has just been found. Abhishek has more on that. Abhishek?
Well, Arnab, yes, I can tell you that the authorities have successfully recovered the black box, essentially the orange color equipment which records every minute of a flight and, of course, includes the last moments in case of a tragedy like this one. So the authorities are expecting, given the fact that after the Mayday call, the pilots did not have enough time to even respond to the details that the ATC had sought. Remember, this happened in the line of sight of the air traffic control of Ahmedabad airport, and the plane was just about 600 feet above ground when this stall of engine happened. But of course, the final details of what exactly happened in those last few seconds of this ill-fated 40-second flight or no, the black box would have all the details and has been recovered and is going to be given over to the DGCA and civil aviation authorities to take the investigation further.
Right, Dr. Vipul Saxena, what is your reading of the circumstances leading to this crash? I would like to point out here that my initial information by reporter Harsha is that while that agreement with Turkish Technique, which does maintenance for heavy maintenance for wide-bodied planes, while it is used by Air India after Tatas have taken over, this particular plane was last serviced by Air India Engineering Services Limited. So maybe Air India is working with both. Is Air India working with both, Captain Amit Singh? Both AI, ESL as well as Turkish Technique?
I'm aware of Air India Express giving the 737 contract to the Turkish company. I'm not very sure about Air India 777s.
Okay.
So the Air India 777 and 787 have been there for long.
I mean, I don't know why Campbell Wilson of Air India had to send these planes only to Turkey. They are saying that India does not have the capacity to do such works. Well, there are always alternative countries.
If you look at the long association, the first CEO appointed was the Turkish.
Why did Tatas allow it?
Well, they have some affinity towards Turkey. So first CEO.
But Tata should be aware of strategic concerns.
And even AirAsia had a ground handling agent who had links with the Iranian terrorist organizations.
But wouldn't the central government know that? Wouldn't our security establishment, national security establishment know that?
All of them have to undergo security clearance before being handed over. So they need to do some in-depth security of the people they are related. So immediate board of directors might not be, but they might be related.
Would we send our planes to China for maintenance? We wouldn't. Captain Dr. Vipul Saxena, what do you think has led to the crash, sir, from the visuals that we see?
Yeah, Arnab, I have seen one more video on one of the channel I was there. I will not be able to quote the time of the channel. But in that video, I could clearly see that aircraft has taken off very clean configuration. But till crash, its undercarriages are down, which is very, very unusual. At that height, undercarriage cannot be down. So what I assume, and the attitude, if you see the aircraft attitude, it was not, the nose was not aligned to the center line. It was definitely at about 30 degrees from the center line, which means there was a heavy crosswind, which the pilot was adjusting. And I assume there are 2-3 things which my assumption says that probably there was a wind shear, which probably caused some kind of loss of thrust in the engines. And because undercarriage was already down, which needed extra lift to sustain the aircraft. So I feel somewhere this complicated the issue and aircraft started sinking. I also feel at that point of time, maybe there may be some kind of malfunction in the controls of the aircraft, because the aircraft doesn't fly on the engine. Engine only gives the thrust. It is the controls of the aircraft, ailerons, flaps, elevators, which create induces the lift to lift the aircraft, fly the aircraft in various attitude. So I feel there was some problem with one of the critical controls, which probably could not sustain the aircraft in the air, coupled with some loss of thrust in the engine because of a wind shear, and also because undercarriage was already down.
This makes it look very scary. I mean, like, can it be that one engine gives you trouble, there's a little bit of wind and a plane crashes? Captain Augustine Vinod?
It gives a loss of thrust, Arnav. It gives a loss of thrust. But that can be recovered by various means. But there was time hardly available to the pilot.
Captain Vinod?
Arnab, there's kind of a deja vu for me. Sitting here and talking exactly the same thing which we talked about during General Bipin Rawat's crash, where I said, bring up that video and turn up the volume.
Yeah,
so I would request, the video which was taken on the The initial video.
The first video from the side.
Yeah, the
Okay.
amateur.
The
Just
amateur
turn up
video.
that volume.
Okay, you want me to play the video? What I'll do is, I'll keep you in a small window on the bottom left or right. I'll play that video and I will not speak
and
over
turn
it.
up the volume.
Okay, but that, okay, it's short as a distance, Captain Vinod, but I'd still play it.
No, not that video where someone from on top of the on top of his house is.
This is not the one. Yeah, this one.
This one. Turn up
Let's
that volume.
play it. Let's turn up the volume. Turn up the volume. You have the volume on that?
Once again.
Louder, once again.
Last time when we discussed, I said, a picture is worth, 1,000 words, and the sound is worth even 1,000 more than that. If you look at this video, it is very, very clear the engine is not quit. If you look at the other video, the CCTV video, the aeroplane has taken off beautifully. So let us shift chaff from wheat, and let us look at fact as it is. The aspect about
Okay. Yeah, please continue. Thank you, Kotha. Yes.
Yeah, the aspect about crosswind takeoff or wind shear, everything goes out of the window, or heavy takeoff, all that goes, and engine failure, everything goes out of the window in this particular video. The moment wheels leave the ground, that means the aeroplane has taken off beyond something called V1. At V1, there is a speed called V1, Arnab, and very important our viewers to know this. At V1, the aeroplane is capable of climbing out in one engine. If required, go all the way to Bombay or Chennai with the kind of fuel that it has, halfway to probably even London with one engine. It has that capability. It can climb out in one engine, come back, do emergency landing in one engine. So this aeroplane has taken off very beautifully till about 400 feet, absolutely perfect. The first thing that goes up, Arnab, is the muscle memory of every pilot, is the undercarriage. The gear goes up first, and it goes up anywhere between 50 to 100 feet. At about 200 feet, you're engaging the autopilot. So the gear is remained down. In this video, I zoomed in. In fact, I tweeted about it as well, and I written about it as well. If you look at this video, zoom in very carefully, you will notice the rear end of the wing, which is called the flaps, is up. When the flaps are up and when the aeroplane is heavy, the aeroplane gets into the stall condition of flight. Let me tell the viewers, the margin between the aeroplane going into the stalled condition of flight to flying away safely in heavy configuration like this is not even 2 to 3 kilometers an hour. Sometimes we call it the VLS, very low speed. There is an orange line. It touches your current speed line and it is climbing up very fast. So in a heavy configuration, if the flap goes up like it has gone up right now, the aeroplane is in stall condition of flight. In fact, just before it crashes, you can make out one wing is doing this. So it is in stall condition of flight, and that is when I think the pilot said, Mayday, Mayday. Now, no pilot in the world will put flaps up before gear. The flaps has gone up is the question you people were discussing when I joined the discussion, Arnab. The flap can go up. I want to recall 787's history. Go back to 2013. 787 was grounded because of lithium polymer battery issues, electrical issues. Twice it has been grounded. So if it was grounded due to electrical issues, I am just putting a question mark saying, did the flap go up on its own without the intervention of pilot? Is it possible? That's a question I'm asking. We will come to know, like...
Let me throw that to Captain Randhawa. Let me throw that to Captain Randhawa, who has heard you. I don't need to add anything more to what you've said. I'd like, Captain Randhawa, your comments on likely factors, please. He's president of the Federation of Indian Pilots, by the way. Captain Randhawa, please. Sir, can you unmute yourself, sir? You're muted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My view is that a previous captain has said that, okay, now if you zoom in and you see the video, the landing gears is looking down. No, landing gear shouldn't have been down because initially when we saw the video, the landing gear appeared to be up and you could not make the position of the flaps. So the most likelihood condition would be there's a loss of power to both the engines because of bird ingestion or maybe due to slight fuel contamination of water due to cold soak. Now, those are the two possibilities, but in case if the noises of the engines is heard very predominantly, which we can't make out in the video, then it could be the flaps as have gone up and the gear is seeming down, so there is loss of lift and which has caused the impact. And there was a lot of fuel which was being carried by the aircraft, so that on impact, this fuel has caused a large amount of explosion and where so many people have died. So the primary factor is that these could be the one reason could be if there is both engines have not failed because of bird ingestion or due to some fuel contamination. Then the third possibility could be the flaps going up before the gear has gone up, there is a loss of lift. And the fourth could be elevator jam, which cannot be ruled out. But ultimately, everything would come out when the DFDR and the CBR is taken out from the aircraft.
Which has just been taken, the black box just been taken from the crash site. I'm joined by our correspondent Gopi for a ground report. Gopi, over to you. What is your site, your location, what's happening around you? Gopi, full frame.
Well, in fact, I'm standing at that very exact location where the plane crashed. I would ask my camera person to kindly show you the visuals. Now, these 6 different buildings, these are BJ Medical College buildings. Now, this was the time when the interns, doctor interns were having lunch, and it is expected that around 50 to 60 in fact, we have received list of 50 to 60 intern doctors who are in the hospital. 3 have been confirmed dead. I would ask my camera person to keep showing you the visuals. You can see how NDRF and SDRF teams are here. The rescue work is underway. While just a short while back, we also visited the civil hospital where the charred bodies were coming out. After every 5 minutes, after every 2 minutes, we witnessed one ambulance was coming and there were around 2-3 bodies in that ambulance. While you can see the amount of charred garbage and dump which is here, these are 6 different buildings. I would ask my camera person to kindly come in front and show you these charred buildings. You can see there were compressors, but yes, there was no blast in the compressor. So the buildings are in fact intact, but yes, people inside have been affected. This is the NDRF team which you are seeing. The rescue operation here is underway. I would ask my camera person to keep showing you the visuals.
Yes,
now this brings back, in fact, the horrific incident of 1988 as well, wherein 133 had lost their lives back then as well. There were only 2 survivors. This time as well, what we are learning from our sources is there are only 2 survivors. You can keep seeing the visuals. This is the NDRF team. The work is underway, and we are showing you the visuals from the very site where the plane crashed.
Okay, Gopi, I'll come back to you before I close this section. Do I still have Captain Ehsan Khalid with me? Dr. Khalid? Captain Khalid is there with us, sir?
Yeah.
Captain Khalid, you've flown these different kinds of airlines, and you've served in Sahara, Jet, Kingfisher, right? I'd like your reading, sir. What do you think has happened here, sir?
Okay. Looking at this particular visual, the aircraft takeoff from the runway is non-eventful, and at the height at which the landing gear should have gone up, the aircraft has started to sink. Whether the flaps has been taken up automatically, or the pilot has retracted the flaps up, I am in no way to judge or comment upon it. The second thing is the Mayday call was given before getting airborne or just after getting airborne. I am not privy to that. It is a possibility that an event like bird strike might have distracted the pilots at that point of time, and sequence of action could be a little not as per the SOP. The second thing is that at the point where the landing gear is supposed to go up, suddenly both the aircraft engines have lost power and caused the sink. Seems to be a very, very, very far-fetched hypothesis. It cannot happen because of technical failure. 1, 2, 3, 4 technical failures will also not make both engines go off power at the same time. Bird strike on such a big aircraft, which is, displaced, the 2 engines displaced by almost 60-70 feet, is also not a possibility because such big flock of birds are not seen around the airport in real situation.
What is it human factor or technical factor? Just to keep it more simple to understand, sir. Is it human factor, technical factor?
I see one particular action will not cause an accident because there is always a sequence of failures that leads to an accident. So there was a failure and then there was an error, could be possible.
A failure of both engines? Are you saying failure of both engines?
Both engines failing is a possibility of 1 in maybe 10 to the power 8 or 10 to the power 9. That's in.
But with one engine, can you have enough thrust to continue to gain height?
On a single engine, the aircraft will fly across Atlantic with its full load. On a single engine. But on both engines going off, it will just die down the amount of glide that it can do. Okay, but here it seems, even if the power is failing, it takes little time. It cannot happen that both the engines will fail absolutely simultaneously. It should have given a yaw.
So it's a rarest of the rare, you are saying?
Yeah.
Has anything like this, you remember anything in recent aviation history? Anywhere in the world?
Other than the Hudson River
other than
landing,
the Hudson.
there was no engine failure together.
It's a number of combination of factors that we are dealing with here. Yes, I can see Captain Vinod want to say something. I have 30 seconds, sir. I'll take a break after that. Yes, sir.
It's not an engine failure. We are seeing that aeroplane took off.
Then what is it, sir? It's not engine failure. Then what is it, sir?
It is a loss of lift.
Why?
I say again.
Why? You have engines which are working. Layman, I guess the engines are supposed to help you take off, right? Give you the thrust to take off.
See, the wings, especially on a 787 Dreamliner, is designed for a very high-speed cruise. It goes at 80% the speed of sound. So if it is designed for a very high-speed cruise, the wings are thin and slender. But thin and slender wings are not designed for a shorter takeoff. So to take off at a short,
so you're saying it's not a maintenance issue?
I'm not saying that it is not a maintenance issue because pilots are designed to put gear up first and then put the flaps up. The flaps have gone up, leading to loss of lift, leading to stalled condition of flight. The aeroplane has done something called CFIT, controlled flight into the terrain. Remember these words, CFIT. And tomorrow we'll keep talking. As days goes by, people again will come back to this particular.
But then it's a wrong decision. Just one. Is that a wrong decision of the pilots? Just asking here. I'd like to go back on this to Captain Amit Singh. Sanatji, is it a wrong decision of the pilots, you think? I'm just going around in circles here.
Arnab, I would like to intervene.
Yes, sir.
There could be a pilot error rather than raising the undercarriage, that is the gear. They have taken the flaps up.
How? How
That
can
is
you do
caused-
something like that?
You can make a mistake. You can make a mistake if the after the command is given by the
So the captain has 8,200, 18,000 hours of flight experience.
Yeah, so he says captain has said gear up. Now, by mistake, if the first officer has taken the flaps up, that will cause the loss of lift. So there could be a likelihood of this thing taking place.
You think
There
so,
could
sir?
be a
Dr. Vipul, what do you think, Dr. Vipul, to that? Unmute yourself, Dr. Vipul.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How much
So, Captain Randhawa, what he's saying is, rest of the rare where such kind of human error can happen. I cannot rule out it cannot happen, but generally it doesn't happen because there is a call out. When it says wheels up, then there's also there are light indicators which goes off, and the co-pilot is monitoring all those. But yet, human error cannot be ruled out from any of the accidents. All I'm saying is, I would like to conclude, Arnab, mark my words. This situation has created, because of somewhere loss of thrust in both the engines, because of maybe wind shear or maybe some other reason.
Yeah.
And because undercarriage was down, it demanded more power to sustain the aircraft, and there was some problem, some major malfunction either in the elevators or maybe in the flaps or maybe in the ailerons, which could not sustain the aircraft in the flying condition.
Okay, I'll close this section at this point. It's been very useful. When I'm back, however, I will go back to what's been happening in Air India. We are not coming to any conclusions. Let me repeat, we are not trying to conclude what happened here. We are not technical experts out here. But the fact is there are multiple show cause notices, absolutely no response effectively from Air India. There are so many details, so many papers about how the DGCA has been questioning Air India, and Air India under Tatas has been totally exposed. Our investigation is also raising questions on whether it is true that a Turkish firm called Turkish Technique has been working very closely to do heavy maintenance for wide-bodied planes, including of the type, not the specific one, of the type that has crashed today. Did Air India enter into that agreement in 2022, and why is that agreement still on even after Operation Sindoor and Pahalgam in 2025? When I am back, these are very important questions.
Time for a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
Hi, this is Chef Ranveer Brar, and I'm here to tell you that also gives me the license to guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IIHM.
Join International Institute of Hotel Management,
where the software engineer meets the gifted content writer, meets the cool UI UX designer, meets the talented photographer to create the big dream. The world comes together at Sardar University. So where are you?
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला.
Amity has been ranked amongst the top 3% universities globally, a testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked quality.
Mahi sir, how much do you love your fans?
Honestly, I love my new fans. पुराने वाले बेकार में शोर करते
Sir, fans हैं, शोर तो करेंगे ही ना?
नए वाले नहीं करते. And they listen to what I say.
The new generation Orient BLDC fans. Super silent performance with voice control.
Silly me, I thought.
Cricket fans.
Where the software engineer meets the cool UI UX designer, meets the gifted content writer to create the big dream. The world comes together at Sardar University. So where are you?
Today at 1:30 local time, an Air India plane bound for London, Gatwick, departed Ahmedabad, and shortly after takeoff, it seemed to have experienced some issues and stalled into a residential area and then crashed. From the footage that we can see, it's very hard to determine what the cause might have been. However, there must have been some technical issues because the pilots sent out a mayday, a distress signal. The plane involved, the Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner, is considered a new generation plane and has a great safety record. So ever since it has been introduced to service in 2011, it has never experienced a crash. Yes, there has been issues with the Dreamliner when it was introduced to service, especially with their batteries and other minor issues, but this is normal when a new plane enters service. Air India is known to have a great safety record. They operate hundreds of flights every day. They have a modern fleet of Airbuses and Boeings, and this comes to a shock for all of us. So it's very hard to determine what really caused this incident, given that the Boeing 787 is such a safe airplane and Air India has a great safety record. I'm sure the flight recorders will be found very soon as well and analyzed by a team of experts. So until we have further information, statements from Air India, including Boeing and witnesses, we just have to wait and see what the outcome will be.
हमारी बहन जा रही थी एक बजे जा रही थी एक और 10 की फ्लाइट थी और जा रही थी लंदन लंदन जाने से पहले ही क्रैश हो गया प्लेन। हाँ मेरी शादी था वो अमृतसर थी और लंदन जा रही थी। हाँ फिर हाँ बस वो 1 घंटे में समाचार आ गया को प्लेन क्रैश हो।
From the Republic Media Network headquarters, it's time for Arnab Goswami on the debate. Arnab Goswami on the debate.
Well, let me begin by saying on the nation's sharpest opinion tonight that when a crash happens, only the family members suffer. Nobody takes responsibility. In technical terms, they'll issue a statement, they'll say we are feeling terrible, then they'll try and do compensation. And in America recently, I want to point out that I'm told the same airline company which built the aircraft which crashed here today, Boeing, had agreed to pay over $1 billion in a deal with the US Department of Justice to avoid prosecution in 2 crashes that killed 346 people. A deal that lawyers for some of the victims' families called morally repugnant. So Boeing pays money when crashes happen, and that has happened in this case, avoids the prosecution. And in this case, Air India, owned by the Tata Group, says that we'll give 1 crore to every person who has lost their life and their near and dear ones. 1 crore rupees. 200 lives lost, 200 crore rupees, nothing. Peanuts for the Tata Group, peanuts for Air India. But where is the accountability, ladies and gentlemen? Why are the other media channels not talking about accountability? Why are they talking about numbers? Why are they reducing this to numbers? How many people died, how much money they will get? How terrible. Is that the way to report such a massive human tragedy? Viewers, I'm sorry to say this, but a lot of the media doesn't go deep into anything. I want to ask some questions. On the 1st of June, it was reported that the disastrous Air India Campbell Wilson, their CEO, who's a complete and absolute disaster, he confirmed that heavy maintenance for some of the airline's wide-body B777 and B787 aircraft has been outsourced to a Turkish-based company called Turkish Technique. And he justified giving this job to Turkish company, calling it part of a global supply chain. I do not know, and Air India needs to tell Republic, is that contract with that Turkish company over after Pahalgam, after Operation Sindoor, or is it still going on? Or will your foreign CEO tell us or issue a statement or not. Is Air India still having some arrangement with the Turkish company? Does that Turkish company have anything to do with the Turkish government in equity, debt, or any corporate structure? We need to know. We will not allow our planes to be maintained in Pakistan, so why would we allow them to be maintained in Turkey? Turkey, as far as we are concerned, is their enemy nation. Did Air India, and I question, did Air India sign the contract with Turkish Technique in 2022 after Air India was taken over by the Tata Group? Did the Tata Group know that Air India has some agreement with the Turkish company? There is an Indian engineering firm that is earlier associated with Air India called Air India Engineering Services Limited or something like that, AIESL. It is still up for sale by the Indian government. It doesn't look like Tata intends to buy it. But I do know this company used to have the earlier contract for maintenance of Air India aircraft. I'm told this particular plane also went to AIESL, but is it true that other Air India planes are still going to that Turkish company, or any Air India planes are going to a Turkish company which is maintaining some Air India planes? I wouldn't feel safe flying in a plane which is maintained by a Turkish company. No Indian would. No Indian would want to. Ladies and gentlemen, does Turkish Technique manage any planes for Air India? Is Turkish Technique owned by the Republic of Turkey, which is led by the anti-India, pro-Pakistan Erdogan? These things matter. Everything is not about contracts and money and legalities. Is it right? Ladies and gentlemen, second big question here to Air India is, and I'm not going after them because there's been a crash. I have been asking this question to Air India for a very long time. There is something terribly wrong, and I feel Air India is totally messed up after the Tatas took it over. It neither has any better qualities, but it retains all the problems which have only increased. I have show cause notices that have been given to Air India over various issues. And in fact, I have a notice which holds Sri Campbell Wilson, the accountable manager for Air India, along with 3 other Air India senior employees, for violating various things to do with airworthiness, maintenance of emergency equipment, etc., etc. I marked the critical parts in yellow. It's a report I have. And there is another show cause notice on the 5th. These are show cause notices of 3rd and 5th, which means in the last 10 days alone, I have these show cause notices sent to Air India for regular problems, from seat belts to emergency equipment, and for violating and flouting all these norms and continuing to fly planes by violating norms. And the problem is DGCA, which is central government. Ministry of Civil Aviation gives an extremely long rope to Air India. Reply in 15 days. How many people Air India, how many people DGCA fly on Air India planes in 15 days? Do their lives matter or not matter, or will it be the next Sarkari check which will determine whether rules are still being flouted? How careless is that? I have another complaint of which there is a reminder sent by an Air India employee of 15 January 2025, which says that senior Air India employees, senior most Air India employees, that they have flouted norms by carrying out security breaches by entering into the cockpit, by getting unauthorized access to the cockpit of Air India planes. What's going on, Air India? I'm not picking on Air India or the Tatas. I'm saying, is this going on or not? Will Chandrasekharan of Tata Group tell me whether this is going on or not? Standard replies, templated replies are not what we want. I'm not saying that these are the exact reasons why the crash happened. I'm just saying in the overall climate of feeling unsafe and unsure about Air India and this terrible tragedy which has happened today, and this whole insensitive, we'll give 1 crore to each of the passengers kind of response. We get a feeling here that both DGCA gave a long rope to Air India, and I hope that is not because it's owned by the Tata Group. Air India was found in contravention and violation of Rule 37(2)B of the Aircraft Rules 1937, as the owner's nameplate on the aircraft did not have the nationality or registration marks. And all of these things, ladies and gentlemen, everything is on record. I now want to show you another video, and truly, the problem in our country is this, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody questions big groups. The bigger the group, the more they are beyond question. I feel the bigger the group, the more they should be answerable. I question the Tata Group. I question what the Tata Group on various issues in the past. It's not because it's the Tata Group. I'm saying because it's not right. Because the bigger the group, the bigger the brand name. the more the accountability and the more the trust that is expected, especially when the lives of people are at stake. We expected Air India to improve, to become safer, better. When Tata took it over, it's the complete opposite. Air India is an unmitigated disaster, and the Tata Group has bought the airline on the basis of the so-called trust of its brand name. But after taking over the airline, they seems to have this, we'll employ a few foreigners and run the airline kind of approach. And these foreign employees, I have nothing against them being foreigners, but they are disasters. They don't know what's going on. Just before this plane, the same plane which crashed today took off from Delhi. A passenger who survived because he didn't take off from Ahmedabad. He flew the same plane this morning from Delhi to Ahmedabad. So he experienced the plane. He shows the interiors of the plane. Can I show a clip of that video? He shows the interiors of the plane. You need to hear this. This same plane which crashed today. Can I have the audio up? Come on.
We are almost about to taxi, but this AC is not working. Look at everyone. And it's so many people, they are using these magazines. AC is not working at all. And as usual, your TV screens are also not working. Neither this button for calling the cabin crew. Nothing is working. Nothing. Not even the light is working.
Exactly. Pull back. Nothing in that plane was working. Now, very often you go into an Air India plane and you feel unsafe because nothing is working. It's not that the AC not working is the reason why the plane crashed, but it just tells you how badly this plane was maintained. Does Air India have anything to say on that? Does Tata Group have anything to say on that? Does the Tata Group have anything to say on that? We're just told, oh, the airline will eventually be rehauled and overhauled. I'm not saying that I know the exact reasons why the plane crashed, but something does not add up. Things have not been right. And Air India needs to look at what's going on within this airline. You carry the name of our country. What happened today is so terrible, terrible. Air India has to take responsibility for the crash. It cannot give templated replies. And I do expect Mr. Campbell to come on my program. Do not give recorded statements. That's rubbish. It's insensitive, Mr. Campbell. I expect Mr. Chandrasekharan to come on my program and talk to me. I want to discuss the issues with you. I will not give you a platform, but I will give you an opportunity. What has happened today, if it was avoidable, even in 0.0001%, then we want an answer. The nation will know. The nation wants to know. The nation has to know what happened.
The crash of Air India 171 has left the entire world of civil aviation in shock. Questions are now being asked on the safety track record of Air India that led to the crash of a plane that had more than 242 passengers on board. Just last month, Air India was investigated by the DGCA after it conducted spot checks on several of its aircraft. The safety watchdog flagged negligence and ignorance by Air India and said that aircraft operated with expired emergency equipment. In the last 2 months, more than 15 show causes have been issued to Air India, but the airline did not comply on any one and no authorized department was questioned. Just 9 days ago, on the 3rd of June, a show cause notice was issued to Air India which said that there was a failure to comply with airworthiness management rules.
If DGCA's show cause notices Air India would have taken very seriously, if they would have acted upon it, if this faulty aircraft was not allowed to operate and fly today from Ahmedabad to London, if this could have been taking the decision from the side of the CEO of Air India, the lives of 242 passengers could have been saved.
Not just that, Republic investigation also found out that the maintenance of Air India's wide-bodied fleet was undertaken by a Turkish firm called Turkish Technic.
Republic's investigation into the flight safety concerns of Air India led to the fact that Air India's Boeing 787 Dreamliner was in fact maintained by a Turkish firm called Turkish Technic. What was interesting about this is that Turkish Technic only backed this contract in February of 2025. It is owned by Turkish Airlines, which has 49% stake owned by the government of Turkey. During Operation Sindoor, when concerns were raised about Turkish involvement in India's civil aviation, Air India promised that it will take away the contracts from the Turkish contractors eventually. However, no changes have been made so far.
But why did Air India give contracts to a foreign company while its own old government subsidiary continues to remain on sale?
We bring to you an investigation with details that many might have ignored. The flight Boeing 787 that crashed today with 242 passengers on board was being maintained by Turkish Technic, a repair and overhaul wing of Turkish Airlines, which in turn is owned by Turkish government. Turkish government has 49% stakes in Turkish Airlines. On the other hand, AIESL, the Indian firm that was earlier associated with Air India, is now bagging contracts abroad.
These developments have raised serious concerns on Air India's record of flight safety. In the month of December 2024, the same plane that crashed today had reported a technical snag. The plane was grounded after a major fault was detected. The airline had then assured that the issue would be resolved. However, in June 2025, that is today, the same plane crashed in Ahmedabad airport. Tata and Air India have issued a templated response.
Air India flight AI-171, operated with a Boeing 787-8 aircraft, travelling from Ahmedabad to London Gatwick, has been involved in an accident after takeoff. Flight AI-171 was carrying 230 passengers and 12 crew members on board. Of the passengers, 169 are Indian nationals, 53 are British nationals, there are 7 Portuguese nationals, and 1 Canadian national. The injured passengers have been taken by local authorities to the nearest hospitals. We are actively working with the authorities on all emergency response efforts.
With over 250 people on board, the chances of survival are dim. One of the passengers on board AI-171 flight fell off from the aircraft and managed to survive. The biggest question is, who is responsible for the biggest aviation tragedy?
No. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I first go across to Akhil, who's at the crash site. Akhil, over to you for a quick minute and a half ground report. Akhil, who's at the crash site in Ahmedabad. Akhil?
Well, absolutely. If you see at this point in time, we are at the very spot where you can see nothing in this debris over here are in their actual form. But one thing we have found out, this is a jet engine, here you can see, which basically create thrust. So that we have found in its original form. Apart from that, we try to locate different parts which include the fuselage, the main body part, the horizontal stabilizer, the vertical stabilizer. Nothing we have found in its original form. Here you can see this is the LED screen which we see generally on our seats. So this is one of the things that we have found in its actual form. Apart from that, if you see, the impact was so high on this very building. There are 4 towers over here. This is tower A, B, and C and D. So we can easily see that on these 3 towers, tower A and B and C, the impact and the momentum was so high that its actual iron rods and grills have got deformed. And if you can see on the ground floor and ground plus 6th floor, what we can see there, there were several ACs which have been placed, and the compressor of those AC have already blasted. Apart from that, what you can see that all those grills, and apart from that, what we have been seeing that the glass of those windows have already been shattered. So nothing has been found in its original form apart from the jet engine, which basically create thrust. We have found in its original form, and except that, if you see all the debris from the seats, apart from that, from the engine parts, if you talk about those wings, nothing has been found in its actual form. Back to you.
Okay, Akhil, thanks very much. Now, there are various questions regarding Air India. There are various questions regarding Boeing. And there are various questions regarding Tatas. You see, first of all, I want to start with an overall comment on this. We have Jitendra Bhargav, former Executive Director at Air India, with us. Neha Lal has been with Jet Airways in the past. And Captain Saurabh Bhatnagar is there with us, former Senior Captain at Indigo. Captain Bhatnagar, thank you. And we have with us Sandeep Ghosh, Senior Voice tonight, analyst. We have Ajay Bagga with us. He's a well-known market expert and commentator on overall issues. Jitendra Bhargav, is it true that Air India is still getting, I'm not saying this specific plane, but there are reports we have now found that Air India has been sending its planes to a Turkish company, I presume in Turkey, called Turkish Technic, to carry out heavy maintenance for wide-bodied planes, including of the type that has crashed today. I'm not saying this particular one. Now, Turkey is with Pakistan. Turkey is an enemy country. There are strategic issues. A Turkish company which does the ground handling, Celebi, has lost its security license for national security reasons. If that is the case, how can Air India planes be maintained by a Turkish company which is part owned in turn by the Turkish government? Is that safe? Or is it true, first of all? Is this happening? Mr. Bhargav, can you unmute yourself, please?
No, I wouldn't be privy to this information. But if it is true, and this has happened,
I can't see you, sir. Can you, is something in front of your camera? Can you open up your camera? Yeah, better now.
Yeah. So what I was saying was that while I'm not privy to this information as to what were the terms in contract, but I remember having read in the post-Sindoor operation that Air India was thinking of terminating it. Now, what the inquiry, when it takes place, this factor needs to be looked into, that if they knew that the contract is being terminated,
Asmita,
the maintenance contract.
No, what is there to think, sir? Celebi's contract was cancelled, right, Ajay, within a couple of days. But maintenance of planes is very serious. I'm not saying this has happened for that reason. I have nothing to say that. I'm just saying that this fact has come up. I'm not saying that is the reason. I'm not one who puts out conspiracy theories. I'm asking. In fact, Indigo was told to stop the damp leasing of 2 Boeing aircraft from Turkish Airlines. And they were given a 3-month period to terminate the lease. In this case, is Air India still working with Turkish Technic? And the Campbell said that we will reduce the number we are sending to Turkey. But has he stopped it? Why has he not stopped it? Is Turkey being chosen because it's close by for commercial reasons? Ajay, are these valid questions now?
No, these are very valid questions, Arnab. What you are against today, and I was seeing your coverage right from the time of the disaster, and you were the only one asking these questions. I'll tell you, Boeing is one of the biggest defense contractors for the US government. Yes. They have been given a clean chit on the 737 MAX. Now, today people are saying Dreamliner has not had a fatal crash like this so far, but it's the same generation as the 737 MAX. What did they settle with the Department of Justice? Yes, we fooled our regulator, the FAA. We fooled them that the software was working. The software put 2 planes into deep dives and killed over 350 people. And they were offered $450 million by the Department of Justice. Entire Boeing senior management was told, you are not going to be criminally prosecuted. They kept their bonuses because the Pentagon doesn't want to investigate Boeing too closely. Now come to Air India. Air India has had 2.5 years. Mr. Bhargav was there for decades. We never had an engine issue. We didn't have back-end maintenance issues which were done in-house, and we had one of the best engineering pool in India. What did the Tatas do when they came in? To break the engineering union, you make it as a separate company. Then you try that you will not give contracts to this company, which is getting contracts from global airlines. And you go to Turkey, which is an enemy nation, for something which is so dangerous.
Why did the Tatas allow it?
Why did they allow it?
Why did the Tatas allow it?
You are asking the right question, Arnab. Nobody else is asking that. Why was this allowed? So you have Boeing, you have Air India, you have maintenance to break the engineering union. I have friends who have worked 38 years as engineers in Air India. They are sitting now taking VRS and moving out. Mr. Bhargav can bear that out, how good those engineers were. They are amongst the finest in the world. You go to Turkey, and the CEO who has been brought in, he's a CEO with a backdrop of economic airlines, what you call the low-cost airlines. He's not. Why aren't you getting someone from SQ? Why don't Singapore Airlines planes fall? Why don't Emirates planes fall? Why don't Cathay Pacific planes fall? Why aren't you getting a CEO from one of those premium airlines? You have brought in somebody with an agenda of cost cutting. Just turned around.
Correct.
This. You have seen it with the pilots. It's happening. When you're not getting air conditioning, you're not getting working toilets, you're not getting working seats. We have had ministers who have found seats which are not working, torn seats. What do you think is happening behind the curtain, Arnab? That is the dangerous part. And what you showed today, what Shravan was showing, the June warning from the DGCA, why didn't they ground all the Boeings? When the Alaska Airlines, the same 737 MAX, they forgot to put on Bolt in the emergency plane. Can you imagine, Arnab?
No, but I want to know what is our government doing. The question also is that our government must know.
Why didn't you ban?
The Indigo has also signed a deal, I'm told, with Turkish Technique to conduct redelivery checks for over 10 of its Airbus aircraft. Now, if this happens in Istanbul, the passenger taking off in India does not know whether the airline he is taking off on has been checked in Istanbul, Ataturk, or where. He thinks he is getting into an Indian airline. Right? Does he know? Then we must be told that this plane you are about to board, I don't know whether it's Indigo or Air India, has been checked in Istanbul. Now, I don't hate the Turkish people, but Istanbul is not a friendly nation. Sandeep?
First of all, condolences to the families. This is a terrible tragedy. I have myself seen some colleagues dying in a previous Indian Airlines crash in Aurangabad, so I can feel the pain. Secondly, as you said, we are not here to spread conspiracy theories, but this Turkish hand in Indian civil aviation is very clear. I don't know if you all recall, Ajay would remember, the first CEO chosen by Air India, I can't pronounce his name, Aichi or somebody.
Also
he
Turkish.
Was from Turkey.
Yeah, they were a Turkish obsession.
And he was closely related to Erdogan. And he was there, and after the controversy was raised, he was eased out, and then they brought this, as Ajay very rightly put on, some budget airline guy whose main brief would have been to cut costs and, probably do the VRSs and all that and restructuring. So that person was brought in over there. But as you pointed out in Indigo as well, so I think this is an angle the Indian government must also probe. We are not linking the two. As I said, we are not putting in conspiracy theories, but whether Turkey has been trying to infiltrate the Indian civil aviation system, I think that is definitely worth looking into.
I would like to bring in Sanjay Lazard. He's Captain Sanjay Lazard, and to introduce him properly, he's an Air India veteran with 38 years in aviation. He's flown global leaders, prime ministers, presidents. He's also a survivor of the Kanishka bombing. He lost his family on board Air India Flight 132. He's also been a lawyer, union leader, involved in lengthy aviation battles and policy issues, so he knows things. Captain Sanjay, with your introduction, the only simple question I'm asking you tonight out here, sir. May I? Did I get something wrong? So you can unmute yourself, sir, in case I got something wrong in the introduction. Yeah, you can correct.
I'm not a captain, so let me make that very
so
specific.
Sanjay Lazard, okay, fine. You're not a captain, but fine. I mean, the rest of the introduction is valid. So, and you have suffered personal tragedy on air crashes, so you know things very well. Is Air India cutting corners? Are Indian airlines or airlines cutting corners? Is that one of the reasons why something like this can happen?
First of all, Arnav, my deepest condolences to all the people at Air India, the passengers, families, the crew families, the families of the kids in that hostel, and all of India. And this is a sad day for aviation in India and around the world. Before we go into all of those things, 2 points I'd like to make. People, we are talking about a whole lot of other things. Let's understand that Air India has had a great safety record in terms of wide body accidents over the last 50 years. My family has been in this company for 90 years now, collectively, me included, and I flew for 38 years before I was retired. Great record. Absolutely, the previous accident was 1978, which was Ashoka. Then came Kanishka. The second point is both these pilots had almost 10,000 hours of flying combined. Now coming to the aircraft itself, Arnav, as we both know and all know on the panel, that we've got almost 1,100 787s flying in the skies today. They've completed over 5 million flights with 30 million flying hours. That's a huge amount. It's a very safe aircraft. Now coming to the real point that you've been raising about Turkish, if I remember, and I think Mr. Bhargav was correct, Mr. Campbell was on the news a month ago when Operation Sindoor took place, saying that they're terminating the agreements with Turkish Technic. That's how I understand it. I also believe that the Ministry of Civil Aviation asked Indigo to do so. Okay, that is one aspect of the heavy engineering. Those are aircraft that go for major modification, C checks and D checks. Here it is a question of the aircraft having lost power after taking off, having done a Delhi Ahmedabad and then doing Ahmedabad London. So it's slightly different from the larger picture. Your point is well taken, but on a day that our nation is mourning, I'm really not going to get into the Turkish conspiracy. The Turkish are our enemies. The Pakistanis are our enemies. I completely agree with that.
But you would agree that any such deal should now be completely cancelled. I mean, that's the least we can expect.
It is already cancelled. As per what I understand, it's already been cancelled. I think there's only one aircraft that was.
But why do they want to work with Turkish companies? Are there no other companies in the world?
I've I've taken a VRS 2 years ago and I consulted.
So, okay, I'll come back to you in a minute. Out here. This is one angle. I'm not saying this is responsible for the crash, but Asmita Roy is with us and she's at London. Asmita is with us, Rao, and she is at the London Gatwick Airport. Asmita, can you tell us what the situation is at the Gatwick Airport, whether any of the families of those expected to land are there? What scenes have you seen? What information are you getting? Asmita, over to you.
Yes, right. So right now we're at the London Gatwick Airport, and as far as the situation is concerned, the security has been tightened because they have been prohibiting any sort of interference from the Air India counter as we tried to go and question them. However, as far as the situation is concerned, must say that the passengers who are traveling across globally, that has been allowed, of course, but the Indian passengers, the numbers, they are lessened. It's absolutely near to nowhere, but the airport authorities have been very strict. As far as the UK government, they have strengthened the stringent vigilance over here in the airport, as they are completely looking forward to tight security, and they have made successful arrangements as well.
Okay, have you been able to speak to anyone at Air India at the Gatwick Airport?
Not at the moment, but we're trying to get over there, and hopefully, yes, we will in some time.
Right. Well, thank you very much, Asmita, for joining us from Gatwick. Thank you very much indeed.
Yes.
Neha, I want your views on this. I'm going to go back to Asmita at Gatwick Airport in a while. Neha, of course, there are technical issues to resolve out here, but I've also seen some complaints here about Air India. And one of those includes a complaint by Air India crew saying that senior officials of Air India broke rules by entering the cockpit of a ferry flight. Air India 350-900, which departed from Toulouse in May 24, and cabin crew and Air India personnel observed 2 senior Air India management crew enter access to the cockpit. This kind of stuff happened, we were told, when the government was there and ministers would strut around. I never heard that something like this could happen. How can management crew enter the cockpit? This is a legit complaint. And there are several complaints about Air India, management, maintenance that we are seeing here. I'm not raising this in the context of this, but also talking about this in the context of the crash.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Well, let's start by saying it's a tragic situation that has unfolded today. Having said that, what happened, the breach of cockpit, at that time, I won't be able to throw a light on this because I don't know much about that situation. But having said that, what happened today, I think let's focus on that. And from your channel only, we came to know that they've recovered the black box. So I'm sure by tomorrow we will be unfolding the truth, and we will be able to throw new light.
Okay,
what happened on the flight.
Yeah, so Jitendra, let me bring in the bigger issue here regarding Air India. There is a problem with Air India. You'll acknowledge. What is the problem? Why has it gone so bad since the Tatas took it over?
No,
today, if this is a double engine, failure.
Give me time.
Yeah.
Air India under government ownership was lacking in finances. They were not spending money. They were not getting spare parts. They were not paying people. The morale was down. What transformation has come about in the last 3.5 years is that we placed an order for 570 aircraft. The aircraft are being inducted in a phased manner, the new ones. They've taken aircraft on lease from Western Airlines to ensure that there is a product quality. The moot point, as Mr. Ajay Bagga very rightly said, is to look at the maintenance contract with the Turkish airline. Okay, you terminated the contract. What was the alternative? Has a notice been given? Yes. So who was maintaining the aircraft in the interim period? Then a point was made regarding by him, Mr. Bagga himself, about the AIESL. AI is for Air India, but we can't use it after the disinvestment. This engineering company in Nagpur has a fabulous hangars, etc. for aircraft. They are maintaining 777 aircraft of Kuwait Airlines. There is no reason why Indian carriers should be going outside for repairs, for maintenance, major maintenance. Now, what the government has failed to do is, we've got to fault the government as well, that when the Air India was disinvested, it was taken away from the Air India Engineering Services. That day, it will also be disinvested separately to get higher realization. Now, it's been 4 years. What has the government done? Because if you are not going to disinvest, you build it as a major MRO company of India to take on jobs. As Mr. Bagga very rightly said, professional engineers. You can't get engineers who are trained in all kinds of aircraft that India has. So one is very clear, that if the maintenance is at fault, and the inquiry comes to this conclusion, that the maintenance of the aircraft was at fault for today's tragedy, then it will only compound matters. But then we need to have it very clearly that disinvestment was a necessity.
No, that's another thing, but that's another thing. But would you acknowledge what explains, sir, what explains the numerous incidents? Why are there so many incidents regarding, why are there so many disasters with Air India since the Tatas took over?
To a test match.
No, I'm asking you, sir. My question is that why are there so many show cause notices being sent to Air India? Is that what we expected?
No, now let me answer this. You take any regulatory agency, these kind of things are regular, and we got to divide these notices into two parts. One, which are service related, crew scheduling related, and second, which are air.
Sir, I am talking about flight safety related. I am talking about a DRF level 2, which is issued to Air India 3 times in the span of 13 days. Sir, DRF level 2 means it's a deviation, recommendation or finding indicating non-compliance with regulations or requirement that may lower the safety standards or potentially endanger flight safety.
No, let me just put it here. There are 3 aspects to it. One,
sir, emergency equipment is not working and you're flying a plane.
No, hold it.
No, I'm holding it.
Somebody complains about a violation by Air India to DGCA. Second, DGCA naturally issues a notice to Air India. Third and most significant part is, what did Air India say in its response to the notice? Unless we have all the 3 things put together and say, well, this was a serious, grave mistake made by Air India.
They have done so, sir. That's what I'm saying. They are saying it's serious, they are saying it's grave, and they are saying that the offender is Mr. Campbell of Air India. I have the investigation report of a recent case with me. I'm not making this up. I have an investigation report.
I'm saying who...
Amit Shah is holding a press conference. I'm going live. Full frame.
171 दुर्घटनाग्रस्त हुई और कई पैसेंजर इसके अंदर हताहत होने की संभावनाएं हैं। इस घटना से पूरा देश क्षुब्ध है और पूरा देश एक साथ पूर्ण संवेदनाओं के साथ ये जो दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण हादसे में पैसेंजर हताहत हुए हैं, इनके परिजनों के साथ खड़ा है। सबसे पहले मैं भारत सरकार, गुजरात सरकार, भारत सरकार के प्रधानमंत्री जी और गुजरात सरकार की ओर से भी जो लोग हताहत हुए हैं, इनके परिजनों के प्रति गहरी संवेदना व्यक्त करता हूं। 10 ही मिनटों में हादसे के भारत सरकार के पास सूचना पहुंची। तुरंत ही मैंने मुख्यमंत्री जी, यहाँ के गृह मंत्री, होम डिपार्टमेंट के कंट्रोल रूम, सिविल एविएशन डिपार्टमेंट, सिविल एविएशन मंत्री, सभी से संपर्क किया। प्रधानमंत्री जी का भी तुरंत ही फोन आ गया और भारत सरकार और गुजरात सरकार के सभी डिपार्टमेंट एक साथ होकर राहत और बचाव कार्य में लगे। इस विमान में कुल मिलाकर 230 यात्री देश के और विदेश के और 12 क्रू मेंबर सवार थे। इसमें से एक यात्री का बचने का अच्छा समाचार मिला है, मैं उनको मिलकर आया हूं। मृत्यु का आंकड़ा तो डीएनए परीक्षण और यात्रियों की पहचान के बाद ही अथॉरिटी अधिकृत रूप से घोषित करेगी, मगर जो यात्री बचा है उसको मैं मिलकर आया हूं। घटना के तुरंत बाद गुजरात सरकार ने बहुत त्वरा से डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट की सारी इकाइयों को अलर्ट करते हुए, चाहे हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट हो, चाहे फायर ब्रिगेड हो, चाहे पुलिस विभाग हो, भारत सरकार की भी सीएपीएफ को संपर्क कर सभी ने एक साथ मिलकर राहत और बचाव का कार्य चालू किया। मगर 1.25 लाख लीटर ईंधन विमान के अंदर ही था और लगभग गर्मी तापमान इतना ऊंचा हो गया कि किसी को बचाने की मौका ही नहीं मिला। अब मैं घटना स्थान पर भी जाकर आया हूं। सारे यात्रियों के मृतदेह को बाहर निकालने का काम लगभग समाप्त हो चुका है। जितने यात्रियों के परिजन यहाँ पहुँच चुके हैं वो सबका डीएनए लेने की कार्यवाही भी 2-3 घंटों में समाप्त हो जाएगी। विदेश में जिनके परिजन हैं उनको सूचना देने की कार्यवाही समाप्त हो चुकी है और जैसे ही पहुँचते हैं उनके भी डीएनए सैंपल लिए जाएंगे और मृतदेहों की पहचान के लिए जितने मृतदेह मिले हैं इनके भी डीएनए सैंपल लेने की कार्यवाही समाप्त हो चुकी है। गुजरात में ही लगभग 1000 के आसपास डीएनए टेस्ट करने पड़ेंगे। ये सभी टेस्ट करने की क्षमता गुजरात में विकसित है, तो डीएनए टेस्टिंग के लिए कहीं गुजरात के बाहर जाने की ज़रूरत नहीं पड़ेगी। गुजरात की एफएसएल और नेशनल फॉरेंसिक साइंस यूनिवर्सिटी दोनों मिलकर कम से कम समय में डीएनए का परीक्षण पूरा करने के बाद परिवारजनों को अपना मृतदेह परिजन का मृतदेह सौंपने का काम करेंगे। उनके रहने की सुविधा, उनकी सांत्वना की सुविधा, जिनको मेडिकल प्रॉब्लम ट्रॉमा के कारण हुए इनकी मेडिकल की सुविधा, ये सारी व्यवस्था बहुत सुचारू रूप से हो चुकी है। अभी रिव्यू मीटिंग में सारी व्यवस्थाओं को हम सब मंत्रियों ने साथ में मिलकर देखा है। एविएशन डिपार्टमेंट ने अपनी जांच शुरू कर दी है और जांच तेजी से आगे बढ़े इसके लिए भी एविएशन मंत्री जी ने सूचनाएं दी है। मैं फिर से एक बार राहत काम में जिन जिन एजेंसियों ने त्वरा के साथ बचाव और राहत का काम किया वो सभी का धन्यवाद करना चाहता हूं और फिर से एक बार जिन्होंने अपने परिजनों को गंवाया है, हताहत हुए हैं, वो सभी को मनपूर्वक संवेदनाएं व्यक्त करता हूं। मैं एक बार जरूर कहना चाहता हूं कि ये एक्सीडेंट है, एक्सीडेंट को कोई रोक नहीं सकता, परंतु 365 दिन 24 घंटा इस तरह की घटना के लिए प्रशासन का जो अलर्टनेस है उसकी कसौटी उसी वक्त होती है जब ऐसी घटनाएं होती है। और आज गुजरात के डिजास्टर मैनेजमेंट की तैयारियों का एक प्रकार से दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण तरीके से मगर कसौटी हुआ और बहुत त्वरा के साथ यहाँ पर काम किया गया, वो पूरे देश के मीडिया के सामने और परिजनों के सामने भी आया है। अंत में मैं फिर से एक बार सम्माननीय प्रधानमंत्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी की ओर से, भारत सरकार और गुजरात सरकार की ओर से सभी हताहत लोगों के परिजनों के प्रति गहरी संवेदना व्यक्त करता हूं। धन्यवाद।
Sohail Seth is with us right now also as we are continuing our coverage. Sohail has been on the board of, he's the first Indian to be on the board, Global Advisory Board of British Airways, so he knows about airlines. Sohail, I'll cut the chase here. You know, it's a wake-up call for Air India and, you know, for a disaster like this to happen. I'm not saying this because of this catastrophe, but because there have been so many incidents involving Air India in recent weeks and months.
So you mentioned this. I don't know about what the DGCA has done or not done. B, and no one is, holding a candle or being defensive. Because if, as you say, the DGCA has sent warnings or, notices or whatever.
Several.
Then the blame should lie at the doorstep of the DGCA. It is their business to regulate. But, Arnab, I'm telling you one thing today, which you must take to heart and to heed. It is an accident of a horrific nature. You have experts on your panel. To jump to a conclusion, to link this back to some show cause notice is the most erroneous, illogical thing you can do, and I'll tell you why. Any airline accident, post the accident, has three stakeholders to it. Number one, the aircraft manufacturer. Number two, the regulator. And number three, the airline. Today and right now, Arnab, it is a moment for India to heal. India is grieving. The country is asunder. To now jump to a conclusion.
No, I'm not jumping to a conclusion. 1 minute. Sohail, 1 minute. One minute. I'm saying something tonight. Wait a minute. I'm not jumping to a conclusion saying because they have got show cause notices, because there have been investigations, because they've been found guilty. 1 minute. I'm not saying, but what it is reflecting to me, it's quite clear that when there are so many show cause notices on so many issues, including those which compromise safety, and when the offenders' names are mentioned as Campbell Wilson, Shubhro Bose, blah, 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 investigation report details with me, when there are complaints about unauthorized access in cockpits, when there are Canadians, Transport Canada, which is complaining about airworthy seatbelt assemblies, serviceable, not equipped, etc. And this is also another show cause notice. This is not, the fact is these may be smaller issues than the one which caused the crash today, much smaller. But there are numerous such incidents which show that the attitude of Air India has been wanting. We can't cover up for that. There are numerous incidents which have come to light. Yes, and that's one point. Second point, Sohail. You said, you came on my program after Operation Sindoor and said, see, this Turkish company should not do ground handling. Now, I don't know whether, and I'm asking whether Air India still has any deal with a company called...
Turkish company shouldn't do ground handling. I said the drones were Turkish.
Yeah, the drones were Turkish, and therefore I'm saying here...
I didn't even mention ground handling.
Now, I'm saying Turkish Technic, which is a Turkish-based company, which Campbell says is part of a global supply chain, has had a deal with Air India since 2022 after, and it's, I don't know whether it's called off, whether it's still there, but should a Turkish company do any maintenance for an Air India plane? This question becomes more relevant in recent times. I'm raising all issues tonight because they're relevant.
I'm so glad you asked me this. Suddenly Turkey became, and there was a lot of brouhaha about Turkey post-Operation Sindoor when Turkish drones were employed by Pakistan. Till then, no one created an issue about Turkey, neither did you. So let's not mix the metaphors.
So, okay, so let me say, how after that has it been called off?
How do I know?
Should it be called? Should Air India call it off if it hasn't already?
Okay, so here's the thing. I am not you. I cannot speak for Air India. I cannot speak for British Airways. I can't speak for anyone. I can only speak for myself as an Indian citizen. And my logic tells me the following. A massively horrific tragedy has occurred today. The airline that has been involved in that horrific tragedy is an airline called Air India, whose pilots have been rated amongst the world's finest in successive aviation surveys. You've got experts on your panel. I can see Jitendra Bhargav.
Jitendra is there, but but you can't put all the blame at DGCA.
Number three, before an investigation is done, we cannot create a kangaroo court where we
nobody's creating a kangaroo court. No, 1 minute, Sohail. There's not this whole kangaroo court. Nobody's creating a kangaroo court. I have documents with me about cockpit entry violations. I have documents with me. About show cause notices. I have documents with me about alleged contraventions. And while these may not be directly linked to today's incident, I have been saying it not for the first time, but airlines care? Do airlines care? Today Boeing has do airlines care?
You're normally very logical. Let me destroy that logic also. I'll tell you why.
I'm sorry, Sohail, you are coming to conclusions without seeing any of the documents which I'm putting on air. You want me to send you the show cause notices?
No, if a cockroach is found in airline food, will you blame?
I'm sorry, this is not a cockroach. 242 human beings have died. Not
So
there
that's
is.
my
There's only
point.
one. This
The
is no. You can't diminish
No.
this. Come on, Ajay.
No, you're diminishing it. You're saying a cockpit entry happened, therefore this
I
accident
am not
happened.
saying therefore. I am saying that there are things which are going terribly wrong in Air India.
So
That's
you're
what
not
I'm
an
saying.
aviation
Ajay, would you like
expert.
to step in on that? No, I'm saying there are. I
You're
think
not an
what did I
aviation
say? I said
expert.
it's a wake-up call for Air India.
Arnab, my friend, when I last checked, you were not an aviation expert. I'm not an aviation expert. Let's
You
wait for
don't
the
have to be an
experts. Let's
aviation
wait for the
expert.
inquiry.
You don't
Let's
have to
wait
be
for
an
the
aviation
investigation.
expert to see what has been going on. I'm equally blaming DGCA. I have asked, haven't I, Ajay, that has DGCA given Air India a long rope? Why, tell me, if there is a problem, why can't Air India respond in 24 hours and not 15 days? Where is the rule that you have to respond to a show cause notice after 15 days? Ye kahan se hai 15-day notice?
Arnab,
Let Ajay respond. Ajay.
Arnab, this is like every time there is flooding in Mumbai, we say spirit of Mumbai, let's move on. I'm saying that is not acceptable. Tomorrow, if another plane falls, suppose there was some issue, we don't know today. You can't take that chance. After Alaska Air, the plane door came off, the US FAA grounded all Boeings. They made all airlines check all Boeings. That is the bolt in the door there
Now
or not.
this man
Why
is
aren't
talking.
you today
Now
issuing?
this man is talking.
You should issue the
What
notice
Ajay-
today.
what Ajay
I
is
want a
saying-
full check
what
of
Ajay
all
is saying
engines.
is
Why
exactly
did
what
two
I echo.
engines fail together? Two engines can
What
fail
Ajay-
together if there is a
Now,
flock
Arnab-
of birds. I don't know
Arnab,
if they
Ajay
have
is not
found
on your
birds
side.
in the engine. The cockpit voice recorder today you can play. The DFRDA will take weeks. You will have to put it in a simulator. Boeing will come with a simulator. It will take 6
Suhail, Jitendra Bhargav.
What
Oh,
will
got a
we do?
minute
Will we
left.
risk lives for 6 weeks? How will we find out? You will let the planes fly for 6 weeks. Why?
No, okay, I'll ask you one more question. Will these make planes be flown by Air India over the next few days? Should these make planes fly with Air India over the next few days? Should Air India tell me whether all these make Dreamliner series will be pulled back? Would we feel safe going into a Dreamliner tomorrow?
No. Yeah, Arnab, you don't hear Ajay, who's actually on your side today, but Ajay has made a very important point. Ajay has said when the incident occurred in the United States, they grounded all Dreamliners by Boeing.
So do that
whatever
here?
aircraft, Boeing. No, 1 minute. They went through a process. Here, the accident has occurred in the afternoon, and we're already saying.
Okay, so you say, okay, so your argument is, and Jitendra Bhargav, this is a brilliant argument by Suhail, let the process continue. It may continue after weeks and days, let the planes fly.
I've not said that. Don't put words in my mouth. I'm reasonably articulate. I've said let the investigation happen. Jitendra Bhargav has worked in an airline. He knows he cannot jump the gun.
Arnab, let the industry practice, which is proof, which has withstood test of time for many, many decades. What does the aircraft manufacturer do when such a thing takes place? They look at it, prima facie, what is at fault. If they think it's an aircraft which is at fault, like the example given to Mr. Bagga of the doors, then an advisory gets issued to ground the aircraft. Now, there is no point in grounding only Air India Dreamliners while the Dreamliners all over the world are flying. If there is going to be an order, advisory issued by Boeing, it will be applicable to all
Were there not
airlines
problems with this plane, Jitendra Bhargav, in America? And 1 minute, were there not planes problems with this very series in America? Did the FAA not give it a clean sheet? After the FAA gave it a clean sheet, did it start flying in India? Did we do a separate investigation? Or did we then go by what the Americans did? Come on, I know the facts of the case.
No, Arnab.
Suhail is trying to confound the case.
Substantial evidence, but it will not lead to the story that the Air India shortcoming, the notices issued by DGCA is at fault. Let it progress.
I am not saying notices are at fault. I'm saying this. I'm saying the DGCA communication is too slow and tardy.
Arnab, let me say a thing about you today.
No, you can say anything about me. It won't change things. The problem in our country is Diageo did not take responsibility. RCB did not take responsibility. Air India or Tatas will not take responsibility. Investigations will continue and continue and continue and continue.
The moment the accident happened, there was a statement from the House of Tata.
It is a templated statement. It's a templated statement. I want to know what action is happening. I want to know why Campbell has not been sacked.
Why? Who's not been sacked?
Has Campbell been sacked? Has he answered one serious question? Why is he not taking questions? Why is he not coming before the people of this country? You issue a 40-second statement, that won't be enough.
No, so here's the thing. None of us on this panel are speaking for Campbell Wilson or Wilson Campbell. Here's the point. As Jitendra Bhargav, who has worked in Air India and was one of the whistleblowers on another issue with Air India when it was under government, will tell you and will bear in mind, including Ajay will and the lady and obviously Shuldeep.
Today it's an explosion, Sohail, because we know the condition of Air India. And there are a lot of people saying these are disasters waiting to happen.
No, that way they say about everything.
Yeah, so of course, obviously people won't care.
No, 1 minute. Let me tell you, Arnab, don't do this. I'll tell you why. I'm telling you as a friend, I'll tell you why don't do this.
What am I doing? I'm asking questions about accountability between Air India and DGCA on the day of one of the biggest crashes. I think DGCA and Air India,
which you see, responsible for removing the faith of every Indian.
Oh, come on, don't do this. This is like people saying, when I expose corruption, people used to say, you will be singularly responsible for ruining the image of the country by exposing corruption. No, Sohail, come on, be on the right side.
We have fought on the same issues of corruption.
Yeah, but Sohail, on this issue,
let it be.
Okay, let's see. Let there be a detailed statement. Not one Air India official is coming with is answering any questions. Everybody is coming with a 200-word statement. Okay, I am not. Nobody is happy with this. We have no right to ask. If this had been, you talk about America, in the United States of America, Ajay, you answer them. The airline officials would be on every channel. The owner companies would be on every channel. They would be grilled. In India, you can issue a 40-second statement, a 200-word statement, send it to a PR company, and that's it. It doesn't work like that. You want global standards, we want global level accountability in India. I want global level accountability.
So what is your issue? That
my issue is not about an interview, Sohail. My issue is over the fact that, and let me say this, that I have a lot of correspondence which shows to me that things are not okay with Air India. Okay, and I am not saying this today not only about Air India, I am talking about several airlines. My issue is that somewhere there is a feeling here, there are now two big companies, there's Indigo, there's Air India, they rule the skies, they do everything, it's a duopoly, then there's small little Akasa Airlines, theek hai? You know, the accountability factor, 1 minute, the accountability factor in this correspondence, you put this correspondence out, let people see, and then ask me as a media group, I'm doing the right thing. I want people to know this, Sohail. I want people to know that this is not a private matter between DGCA and Air India, because human beings fly these planes, right, Ajay?
I will just say
human beings fly these planes.
I will say one thing and then keep quiet. Arnab,
yes.
Remember one thing. Air India pilots are rated amongst the finest in the world.
I'm not questioning the pilots. I'm asking whether the organization is answerable.
The House of Tata, which you on many occasions, including at Mr. Tata's passing, had said, it's a venerable group committed to India and every Indian.
I am not here to question commitment. I'm questioning the way they're running the airline. I'm not questioning overall House of Tatas.
They're running it perfectly.
Oh, okay. After the crash, you're going to say they're running it perfectly.
1 minute, yeah. The crash has happened in the afternoon. For God's sake, what's wrong with people here?
What's wrong with people?
Country?
I mean, there is no accountability. If I ask what is the answerability of the airline, I get none.
Are they supposed to look after the victims, or are they supposed to answer?
Where are the victims to look after? There is one survivor.
My friend, are they not supposed to look at relief?
Who is saying they're not supposed to?
Tatas have issued a statement.
Who is saying a large? Who is saying?
Will get.
All right.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, you know, the thing is that Sohail. Take
a deep breath.
No, I'll take many deep breaths, Sohail, but I'll tell you this, and my point is you have to look at the larger issues. You have to look at the larger issues, and there are larger issues, and nobody can tell me, oh, this House of Tata, so don't question the larger issues. I'll question the larger issues irrespective of anyone. I'm on the side of the people on this. There are many media companies which will only bother about companies. I bother about the people. That's the difference here.
One last point. Air India could have changed and become a private company, but is still regarded as India's national airline. Virtually, that is how it's seen across the world. So there is a lot of credibility rebuilding to be done by Air India because, these things all add up. There were earlier, I myself have debunked theories about whether the AC was not working or the audiovisual was not working. This is
don't know anything about aviation
or the food is bad. But there is a lot of credibility to be built. And as Suhail said, I would be very unhappy to see Air India's credibility dashed across the world. But this is going to take a toll. And
you don't need to worry about that. You don't need to worry about that. Let me tell you, and I'll give you 3 examples. Number 1, and Arnab Goswami was running the campaign at that time in the right spirit. When the pesticide issue happened against Coca-Cola and Pepsi, when benzene traces were found in Perrier, and when worms were found in Cadbury's, those companies took action and their reputation today is intact. So let's not throw the baby with the bathwater. Half the people who are talking about aviation have no goddamn clue how it works.
I'm not talking about aviation, I'm talking about the correspondence between DGCA and Air India. I don't have to fly a plane to ask these questions.
Therefore, there are 2 people who haven't come on your program. Where is the DGCA chap? You should have called them.
Yeah, I'll call them. You send me an Air India chap live, I'll get a DGCA chap live.
But who am I?
But no, I'm not. I'm just saying metaphorically. I'm not saying you. Venkateshwar Rao is with us. Venkateshwar Rao is a former Air India cabin crew. He's very very activist in his approach. What do you think, Venkateshwar Rao? I heard you speak earlier to Rhythm. Your thoughts?
My thoughts are very simple. There is something drastically wrong in Air India. I and Suhail were together on another program. We are not talking of the Tatas. We are talking of the culture that is permeating. The Babudam has continued into the Tata company. And the Tatas have also been negligent. I have raised n number of issues in the courts, both civil and criminal. And the Tatas have not addressed the issues at all. Obfuscation has been the first, the first thing that they do. And like Suhail, I had told Suhail, I am 2nd generation Air India. My father built up Air India. And I know where it bleeds. Okay? And I have had the best of times with Air India. What I am today is thanks to Air India, but not in the manner it has deteriorated after the year 2008. I am giving you date specifics from the time the LRs, the long range aircrafts and the Dreamliners came, the culture of flight safety went for a toss. I can tell you Mr. G.R.D. Tata would not have approved a single violation. That I can tell you on national TV today. But unfortunately that is not what is happening in the corporate culture of the Tatas today.
So then that's why I said, is it a wake-up call? No, that's why I asked Suhail, is it a wake-up call? Is it a wake-up call for both Air India and the Tatas? It's an airline.
No,
a very, very, very sad, tragic wake-up call.
1 minute. It is not a wake-up call for anyone except the entire aviation ecosystem. Because if you believe that there are some structural or procedural issues, they need to be looked into. No one is saying don't look into it. All we are saying is let the investigation into this particular accident happen before we pass judgment. That's my limited point.
Sure, let the investigation happen, no problems. Ajay, last word to you.
I'll give you a small example. If the lift in your building doesn't have a updated certificate, the management of the building goes to jail. If there is an accident, they will come and put murder case on you. You didn't have airworthy aircraft. Why isn't anyone except you highlighting this? If your airworthiness aircraft certificates were expired, how are you flying those planes? This is a murder case then. That is the big point we have to make. This you are putting people's lives. I don't know if birds came, I don't know if maintenance came, but why is that protocol there of airworthiness?
I am asking here as a journalist, Ajay.
Airworthiness clause.
No. As a journalist, I am upset with these news channels. In any other country, you would be questioning the regulator, you would be questioning the airline, you would have been questioning the owners of the airline. In India, we just say, oh, very sad, this is how the plane took off and this is how it crashed. And these many survivors, one survivor, we'll do stories on the miracle survivor, and by tomorrow we'll move on to a political subject. Nobody is questioning both DGCA and Air India. Nobody is, Ajay.
Yeah, and that's good. You please keep with it. Why were planes which had expired airworthiness certificates flying?
So my point is, it is my duty as a journalist to put pressure on the system so there isn't another crash ever like this in the future.
Yeah, that is happening. I have this report with me. It has 13 forgeries done by Air India. 13
I'll get into. I don't want to pick up all issues at one go, but I'm saying we need to wake the system up. Sandeep, last word, Sandeep.
No, so if those have happened, I think those are the things which need to come out, and accountability has to be fixed. If there has been negligence in terms of certification, implementation, etc., people have overlooked, and we should not allow that to go scot-free, because there would be attempt to gloss over that, and that is where the accountability must come in. It's early hours yet, so we should focus on the tragedy and, as you said, the rescue and everything else, but that should not take away our attention, because there is there is a confidence issue which has to be
as one of the biggest aviation markets, we also need to know what's going on with Boeing. I thank you all for this, ladies and gentlemen, and I hope Air India comes out with its own explanations. I hope it does not do aircraft maintenance in Turkey. There was security clearance revocation for Celebi. They need to tell us what the position is. If Air India chooses to speak to us, we will be happy to take them for as long as they want, as long as that conversation is live and unedited, and similarly to DGCA. I hope we'll see beyond templated statements, and our heart goes out on this biggest civil aviation disaster, this tragedy that has happened today. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll see you tomorrow.
For a quick breather. Arnab will be right back with the debate.
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
Amity has been ranked amongst the top 3% universities globally, a testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked quality.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ, डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
Where the software engineer meets the talented photographer to create the big dream. The world comes together at Sardar University.
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
मेरी नई हुंडई एक्स्ट्रा तुमने भी तो कल नई कार ली है ना, उसमें भी तो होगा ना ये वॉइस इनेबल सनरूफ
है ना अंकल, सिंगर इनेबल सनरूफ।
और बेनिफिट्स ये तो मिले होंगे ना,
ये मिला।
हाँ, हुंडई कार्स पर मिल रही है अमेजिंग डील्स। वैसे लोगे तो आप हुंडई ही, चाहे दिल की सुनो या डील्स की।
Hi, this is Chef Runway Brar. Guarantee you brilliance on behalf of IAH.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला।
सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
Amity has been ranked amongst the top 3% universities globally, a testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked quality.
हमारी बहन जा रही थी
1 बजे जा रही थी।
1:10 की फ्लाइट थी और जा रही थी लंदन। लंदन जाने से पहले ही क्रैश हो गया प्लेन।
मेरी साड़ी था वो खम्बीसर थी और लंदन जा रही थी।
हाँ फिर?
हाँ बस 1 घंटे में समाचार आ गया को प्लेन क्रैश हो गया है, इसलिए मैं वापस अहमदाबाद से बाहर निकल गया था, तो वापस आए सिविल में आ गया।
क्या अभी लग रहा है, क्या प्रशासन की तरफ से क्या हेल्प?
अभी देखने भी नहीं मिला, वो अंदर एंट्री नहीं मिली सिविल में, अभी कुछ भी समाचार नहीं मिला है।
मेरा लड़का है ना, वो ब्रेक पड़ा था खाने का, तो हॉस्टल में खाने गया था इधर, हॉस्टल में ही प्लेन क्रैश हुआ, पर मेरे लड़का को कुछ हुआ नहीं। बात हुई मेरी, और इसके भाईबंद है ज्यादा हुए तो लोग मर गए, ये फिर मेरे लड़का को देखने जाना है अंदर मेरे को।
अभी क्या लड़के को क्या सिचुएशन है?
लड़का बोला है कि मैं अच्छा दूसरे माल से कूदा था ना तो थोड़ा खाली लगा है ऐसा बोला है मेरे को, पर मैं जाऊँ अंदर तो मालूम पड़े ना।
What it takes to report from the front lines. Accuracy, urgency, courage and responsibility. At Republic School of Journalism, you will be trained for that reality. It's not a theory, it's a live learning inside a working newsroom from day one. If you want to report the truth when it matters the most, RSJ is where you begin. Courses begin from June 30th. Apply now.
Powered by Century Ply Club Prime. Raho befikar.
Amity has been ranked amongst the top 3% universities globally, a testimony to Amity's globally benchmarked quality.
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सबको मजेदार बने।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
Where the software engineer meets the cool UI UX designer, meets the gifted content writer. To create the big dream, the world comes together at Sardar University. So where are you?
पैसा लगाना है तो सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम पे लगाओ। डूबेगा नहीं, जलेगा भी नहीं, कोई खा नहीं जाएगा, धोखा नहीं देगा, ऊपर नीचे भी नहीं होगा, सेफ रहेगा, सिक्योर्ड में मिनिमम 30 साल का रिटर्न देगा। अब इससे बेटर इन्वेस्टमेंट है तो बताओ। सेंचुरी प्लाई क्लब प्राइम, रहो बेफिक्र।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
हमारी बहन जा रही थी
1 बजे जा रही थी।
1:10 की फ्लाइट थी और जा रही थी लंदन। लंदन जाने से पहले ही क्रैश हो गया प्लेन।
हाँ, मेरी साड़ी था वो खम्बिसर थी और लंदन जा रही थी।
हाँ फिर?
हाँ बस वो 1 घंटे में समाचार आ गया को प्लेन क्रैश हो गया है, इसलिए मैं वापस अहमदाबाद से बाहर निकल गया था तो वापस आए सिविल में आ गया।
क्या अभी लग रहा है, क्या प्रशासन की तरफ से क्या हेल्प?
अभी देखने भी नहीं मिला, वो अंदर एंट्री नहीं मिली सिविल में, अभी कुछ भी समाचार नहीं मिला है।
मेरा लड़का है ना वो ब्रेक पड़ा था खाने का तो हॉस्टल में खाने गया था इधर, हॉस्टल में ही प्लेन क्रैश हुआ, पर मेरे लड़का को कुछ हुआ नहीं, बात हुई मेरी, और इसके भाईबंद है ज्यादा हुए तो लोग मर गए, ये फिर मेरे लड़का को देखने जाना है अंदर मेरे को।
अभी क्या लड़के को क्या सिचुएशन है?
लड़का बोला है कि मैं अच्छा दूसरे माल से कूदा था ना तो थोड़ा खाली लगा है ऐसा बोला है मेरे को, पर मैं जाऊँ अंदर तो मालूम पड़े ना।
Today at 1:30 local time, an Air India plane bound for London, Gatwick, departed Ahmedabad and shortly...
Welcome viewers, you're watching Live and Breaking, and my colleague Kanksha is with us here in the studio. I'm Rakshita Mishra. We continue to track each and every update that is coming in on the biggest ever aviation tragedy in the history of the country. We have our multiple reporters who are live from ground zero right now. As we speak, we have Gopi joining us from Ahmedabad airport, and Campbell, who is the MD of Air India. He is about to reach Ahmedabad. Akil Jamil joins us from the accident site. We have Ashmita Roy, Gatwick Airport, London. Chandrakala joining us from Air India headquarters. First to you, Akil. You are at the accident site. All right, we have some breaking news coming in right now, and we have an update that the plane reached just 652 feet. This is the breaking news we have right now.
All right, this is the breaking news that we're getting in. Aircraft reached maximum altitude of 652 feet. Airport altitude was around 200 feet is what we are learning. After takeoff, aircraft descent was at a vertical speed of minus 457 feet per minute. In fact, this is the breaking news that we are getting for you right now. Our reporters join us from the spot. In fact, let me go across to Akhil, who joins us from the accident site. Just a while back, Akhil, Amit Shah said that, in fact, all the bodies have been recovered from that spot. DNA testing will be done after this to see how many people have lost their life. But tell us what the situation on the ground is right now.
Well, absolutely. If you see right now, the process is still on. What we have been seeing that large number of the NDRF staff and SDRF personnel have been constantly working apart from the Gujarat police team. So here you can see the visuals at the very ground zero where that disaster took place. Here you can see this very building. This is the hostel mess where the students over there, the resident doctors over there were having lunch at that point in time when that unfortunate incident took place. And here you can see at the very ground zero, the impact of that incident was so high that when the carrier was coming from this very side, it moved towards this side. And here you can see there are 3 different towers, A, B, and C, and those towers have got deeply impacted due to the momentum of the plane at that point in time when that incident took place. And here you can see over here the wreckages, the debris over here, and apart from that, if you will try to find out the broken parts of the plane, you won't be able to find, because everything has been completely shattered, and you can only find out fumes over here. I would like to move a little bit forward and show you the visuals over here. You can see the fumes over here, and right now the NDRF team is trying to douse the fire. Still, some fire is still on over here, and the NDRF team is still working on to douse this fire.
Yes, Akhil. In fact, we also have Ashmita joining us from the Gatwick Airport in London. Ashmita, well, this Boeing flight, this Air India Boeing 787 Dreamliner was, of course, going to Gatwick Airport, and 53 British citizens also have lost their. What we understand is that we're on board that flight. What are you picking up from United Kingdom? Because what we know in the latest is that United Kingdom has also offered to join in the investigation now.
Right. So this is indeed a catastrophic event. And what are the latest updates we have from the London Gatwick Airport is that we try to reach to the airport authorities and the Air India authorities and the airport authorities of London Gatwick, of course, but they have prohibited from everyone from speaking to them, or they have said that they are only issuing statements and they're not ready to speak about this incident or this matter. But there are some updates that I would like to recall. That is, the UK's Air Incidents Investigation Branch has officially offered some assistance and formally deployed a multidisciplinary team to support India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. And of course, as we know, that Prime Minister Keir Starmer has issued his condolence statement along with King Charles III. And Foreign Secretary David Lammy said that he is deeply saddened by such an incident and have confirmed that the teams are active in New Delhi. So these are the latest updates, and I would like to ask Dhruv to show a bit of the London Gatwick Airport. The situation over here, as you can see, the daily activities are being carried out by the airport authorities. But when we are trying to reach the main entrance or the Air India counter to ask people, they are prohibiting us from interviewing or issuing anything, stating that only statements are being issued from the at the official site. So you can see the airport authorities standing over there, right there, and people have gathered. So yes.
All right. So UK has also joined the investigation. They will be sending their teams over to the countries. What we are learning. Let me also bring in our colleague Gopi, who is live from Ahmedabad Airport. In fact, what we're learning is that in just some time, Air India CEO will be arriving at the airport. In fact, Gopi, a lot of lapses have come to fore as far as Air India is concerned. Just some time he's going to arrive there. Take us through what is happening there on the ground.
Well, in fact, this is not the first time that we have seen lapses happening in Air India. It was also previously that we have seen, while talking about this particular specific incident at this very place, even in 1988, this incident, such kind of plane crash had happened. And in fact, 133 people back then had also lost their lives. Only 2 had survived. While today we are standing at the same position, we can see the number of deaths are yet to be confirmed. But just a short while back, we saw how there were charred bodies found at the civil hospital, and we are yet to match thousands of DNA tests, which is going to come out in 3 days. But yes, as you've correctly mentioned, I am stationed at the Ahmedabad airport. I'm at Terminal 1 arrival, where we are expecting the CEO of Air India, Wilson Campbell, will be out from this very gate. While also what we are learning from our sources is Natarajan Chandrasekharan, who is the chairman of Tata Group, is also traveling in the same flight. While there have been anomalies, we are going to question them that what went wrong.
Yes, Gopi, in fact, we'll just go across to Akhil again. Akhil, you are at the crash site. Home Minister visited the crash site, and we understand that the Prime Minister will also be reaching Ahmedabad early morning. And, there are multiple, updates that we're getting as far as the height, the altitude at which this flight had achieved. There was a lot of struggle as far as the altitude is concerned. And now what we understand is that it's a matter of investigation as to what happened, because a mayday call was made. And that mayday call is made under extreme distress, which happens mostly when double engines fail. And while I go to you first, the biggest update is that the Prime Minister will be landing in Ahmedabad early morning tomorrow. That's the breaking news. Prime Minister reaching Ahmedabad early morning. He's expected to visit the crash site and take stock of the situation. Earlier in the day, he had spoken to the Chief Minister of Gujarat. He had in fact spoken to the Civil Aviation Minister and the Home Minister. Both of them were at the crash site this evening, and tomorrow morning Prime Minister himself will be at the crash site. Akhil.
Well, absolutely. If you see where we are standing right now, this is the point where that head-on collision of aircraft took place with this very building. This is the building which has got the maximum impact due to the momentum of the plane. And here you can see all the 6 ground plus 5 floors of what we can see, that all those windows, the main gates, and the ACs, split ACs were basically deformed. And here you can see, I would like to move a little bit forward and show you the visual of these wheels, and you can see the jet engine, the fuselage part of this aircraft over here. You can see over here that these structures have completely got dismantled, and right now, after dousing the fire, the NDRF team is just cooling, just doing the cooling process to settle down the fumes over here. So here you can see behind me the visual of this very area. This is the hostel area of this medical college, and I would like to move a little bit forward and show you the front side visual. At a distance of just approximately 5.5 to 6 kilometers, this medical college was at a distance of the very airport from where that flight has come. And you can see this, the mess of this medical college, where that mishap took place when the flight that was coming from the airport side just made a head-on collision with that building. And after that, what we have seen, this incident in which more than 240 lives have been lost.
Absolutely, and this plane in fact crashed into the mess of the hostel there, which you are showing to us, Akhil, right now. In fact, let me also go across to Chandrakala, who joins us from Air India headquarters. Chandrakala, I want to ask you, there's a lot of lapses which have come to fore. In the last 2 months, several show-cause notices were given to Air India by DGCA. No reply whatsoever. Their CEO was, in fact, asked to give their reply by 16th of June in one of the cases related to that. What is Air India saying on that? We understand that their CEO is going to arrive in Ahmedabad in just some time, but what is their statement? Till now, they've been giving templated statement. What are they saying right now?
Yes, absolutely. The question remains like if Air India is going to reply to it, because Air India is completely not coming on record. They are not ready to respond. I have been in touch with Air India officials currently, and the latest update is that they have sent a caretaker team. That's what they have been reiterating again and again. They're not ready to speak. They're not ready to give us detail about what exactly has happened and how they are going further with the investigation. And also the fact that this particular incident is not the first time that's happening, and it has sent shock waves not only across India but also across different world, across world, and also world leaders has condemned this incident. Latest news is, UN Secretary General on Indian plane crash has extremely extend his heartfelt condolences to the families of the victims. We could see Russian Ambassador Denis Alipov has begun his address at Russia.
Yes, of course, Chandrakala, well, the condolences are pouring in, but the questions need to be answered by the concerned. We have to ask those questions, but right now we have breaking news coming in that that Boeing will be joining in the investigation. Boeing has to answer many questions themselves. Boeing is going to join the investigation. A team is being sent by Boeing. Meanwhile, UK is offering assistance to join in the investigation, because we have seen that we know that 53 British citizens were on board that ill-fated flight. And Ashmita, we continue to track more updates from the Gatwick Airport. United Kingdom, Boeing, both are going to join in the investigation. UK has offered to join.
Yes, right, Rakshita, very rightly said. The UK has offered assistance to India in this matter because, as we know, it is definitely a very deepening, a saddening event. So, as we know, as I just said, that the UK Prime Minister and the Foreign Secretary both have issued statements. But, however, on the contrary, as we know that the Airport Authority of London Gatwick or Air India are refusing to speak. But they have made proper arrangements for the families, for the victims who have been on this flight or who have been at least related remotely. As far as the relatives are concerned of this flight, because we know that relatives or friends of these people who were about to arrive to London Gatwick to enjoy the beautiful summers were here. But the sad part is that the Airport Authority or Air India over here in London Gatwick are not allowing, they are prohibiting us from speaking to them to get their voices on record. That is the part that is diminishing the bridges between us and the common people out here waiting for them. So that's the update, and definitely the UK Air Accidents Investigation Branch has formally deployed a team to India to assist with this investigation. So, and of course, as I said, Prime Minister Keir Starmer describing this crash as devastating. These are the latest updates that we have from London Gatwick. Over to you.
Absolutely. So let me once again bring in my colleague Akhil, who's been tracking the story from the crash site. In fact, Akhil, as you've been telling us that the plane crashed into the mess of this medical college. What is the situation of those students? Do we have any input on that?
Well, absolutely. If you see those students who have got injured at that point in time was taken to a nearby hospital and their treatment is still going on. Behind me, you can see the visual of this mess. So here you can see this is the mess where the head-on collision of that airplane took place with that building, and after that you can see these two wings. Here you can see, with our camera visuals, you can see this is one of the wings of the airplane, and second one is at a distance of approximately 30 to 40 meter over there. So you can find out with the Air India logo as well. So there you can see these are the two wings of that plane which basically got completely shattered and broken. I would like to move a little bit forward and show you the visuals from the ground zero. There you can see the NDRF team is still deployed over there, and they are trying to douse the fire, and still there you can see on those trees you can see the fire can be easily seen, and in those visuals you can see they are using water cannons to douse the fire at this point in time. And apart from that, I would like to move a little bit forward towards my right. There I will show you the visuals of these buildings which have got deeply impacted, because this one was the first building which is the mess of this Medical College, and towards my right is the building of in which the resident doctors used to live. So this is the very building where you can see after making a head-on collision with that mess building, the plane basically, the momentum was so high that it got struck in this very building. And here you can see the dent mark, the big dent mark, in which you can see all the bricks have been moved out from that, and there's a big carved portion like a dent from there at the 4th and 5th floor, and there you can see that the impact of that plane was so high, the momentum was so high that everything, which include the windows, the gates, the ACs over there, have completely got dismantled. And I would like to move a little bit more forward and show you the visuals from there actually, where you can see those broken parts of those fuselage, vertical stabilizer, the horizontal stabilizer, those wings as well. And there you can see, I would like to move a little bit forward and show you the visuals from the very ground zero. You can see those are the tires. I would like to request my VJ Surendra Rawat to come over here and show you the visuals of these tires. These are the large, massive tires of those planes, which has got completely shattered, and still you can see the fumes coming out from these tires as well. So these are the live visuals coming out from
Akhil, has there been any recovery?
These tires, and apart from that, you can see those window panes of the aircraft, which has got completely dismantled and completely tossed due to this incident, which took 240 lives.
Akhil, the black box becomes very important. Has it been found? Has it been recovered yet? What is the situation as far as the latest update in the investigation is concerned? Any crucial evidence that has been collected? Because that black box will be sent for forensic investigation, and that will reveal many details as to what really happened, because it remains a mystery. Akhil, can you hear me? All right, we'll just connect with Akhil once again. We have some more breaking news. In fact, we'll continue to get you minute-by-minute updates on that. But there you have the visuals coming in from the aftermath. There you have the hostel premises that have these parts of the fin of the aircraft strewn away. We also have my colleague Gopi, who is live from Ahmedabad. All right, Chandrakala is outside the Air India headquarters. Chandrakala, there are many questions that Air India has to answer. There are many questions that Air India has to answer. It cannot get away because there have been persistent issues with Air India. Now, what we are learning is that this aircraft had reached the maximum altitude of 652 feet, and the airport altitude was around 200 feet. And what we understand, the takeoff was smooth, but later on, what we saw even in those visuals, there's no rocket science to understand. It does struggle to, somewhere gain height further. So what we understood is that the problem was with the engine thrust. It could not gather enough power to, take further height, and it eventually crashed. What is Air India, if you have spoken to sources in Air India, what have they indicated? They're not putting out anything officially, but what have they indicated could have happened that time? Chandrakala. Chandrakala, if you can hear me, if you cannot, then I'll go across to my colleague Akhil. I think we'll just go again. We'll just connect with him once again, viewers. So the biggest update we have is that the Prime Minister will be visiting Ahmedabad tomorrow morning. In the morning, he will be at the crash site. And this after Home Minister and Civil Aviation Minister were on the spot this evening taking stock of the situation. And they were briefed by the officials over there. And the Home Minister in the night had also given the statement, spoke to the press, saying that the bodies have been recovered. They will be going for the DNA sampling. The DNA test will happen. And they also they have spoken about the rescue operations that continue and all possible help that will be offered. And I think Akhil is back with us. Akhil, if you can hear me. Akhil, can you hear me? Akhil, if you can hear me, then tell us more about what is the investigation. Where has the investigation reached? Has the black box been recovered?
Well, absolutely. If you see, the black box had already been recovered by the authorities, and after that, we tried to speak to the senior officials. They are saying that the investigation is on, and we will have to wait for the investigation to complete. But the first thing I would like to show it to our Republic viewers on camera, that you can see over here. These are the ground visuals of this very incident that Misha which took place. Here you can see these are the windows of the aircraft, and apart from that, you can see those tires, those big tires, and the fuselage part of the big aircraft. And after that, I would like to move a little bit forward and show you the visual of the impact area of this very building. This was the spot where that incident took place, when a head-on collision with this very building took place. Because if you see, when the plane was carrying at a very high speed, the momentum was so high and the impact was so high of that plane that it has got completely destructured the entire portion of this medical college area. This is the left side building, which is known as a residential part of this medical college building. Here you can see these were the bikes which were parked at this very medical college complex. And here you can see these are the visuals over here. This has got completely deformed and destructured. Everything has over here. You can't find anything over here in its actual form. So you can see not only from this very side, the complex of this medical college and hospital is pretty big. And I would like to move a little bit forward and show you the visuals over here of these apartments over here. You can see the broken window panes over here. The glasses of these window panes have completely been shattered. Apart from that, you can't find those even gates properly opened at this point in time, because the glass panes of those windows have completely been shattered. And here you can see it's written over there, Atulyam. This is the complex which is known as Atulyam, and you can see the clothes over here which was in use by the residents of this very apartment. So not only this very building of Atulyam, apart from Atulyam, there are 4 other buildings which have got impacted due to this very incident. I would like to move a little bit more forward and show you the visual of this very incident. You can see the broken parts and these trees as well, the fallen trees over here. So everything which was inside this very complex have got dismantled, have got disformed, just because of the impact of this very incident. I would like to move a little bit forward and show you this very visual. And here you can see this is the part of the cockpit area and the jet engine area. So it has basically got engulfed into this very building. This is the Tower C. So if you just go towards the Tower C of this Atulyam, you can see this is the jet engine which basically give thrust to the plane. So it has got basically engulfed inside this very apartment. Just we are moving towards that side only.
Absolutely.
So these are the live visuals coming from the ground zero.
Absolutely. Republic TV reporting live from the crash incident site. In fact, we have breaking news coming in. We are learning that British High Commission officials have also reached Ahmedabad. In just some time, they will be in fact visiting the crash site as well. Remember, UK has offered to in fact join the investigation, as the 53 British citizens were also on that airplane. And also on the other hand, Boeing has also offered to join the investigation. Remember, earlier in the day, Keir Starmer had tweeted out that in fact he has said the scenes emerging from London bound train carrying many British citizens crashing in the Indian city are devastating. But in fact, what the breaking news we are getting right now is that British High Commission officials are in Ahmedabad. Yes. They are going to be arriving at the crash incident site in just some time.
Akhil continues to be with us. Akhil, just tell us more about the investigation and what you have discovered over there, because you have been actually tracking each and every update from the crash site, and tomorrow the Prime Minister will also be there. If you can help us understand more, because it was a devastating sight to see, because there were charred bodies. The aircraft was completely in it was broken down. You just showed us the windows. The bodies are all charred. Now some of the body can't be identified, henceforth there's this DNA testing that is happening. But tell us more what you're picking up from the ground.
Well, absolutely, Rakshita. If you see, the ground visuals are basically very tragic, because if you see the entire apartment which was bright and shiny, right now you can't even find a single person in those apartments. There are 5 to 6 apartments over here in this entire complex where you can find hostel as well, the resident doctor's apartment as well, the mess as well. So those visuals are very glim. You can see, I would like to move a little bit forward and show you the visuals of this very airplane. The airport is just at a distance of 5 to 6 kilometers. You can see that the plane is moving at a very high speed, and this is the very location where that plane, which was going at a very high speed, basically lost the control, and basically it got stuck into this very apartment of the resident doctors, in which what we have seen that 240 lives have been lost.
Absolutely. Let's not. All right, so we have breaking news coming in. British High Commission, in fact, has arrived in Ahmedabad, is what we're learning. UK has a consulate in Ahmedabad. In fact, their officials have arrived in Ahmedabad, and in fact, in just some time, they will be going to the crash site there. Just a while back, we told you that Air India CEO will also be arriving in Ahmedabad in just some time. All of them will be going to the crash site to see what led to this crash which took place earlier today. But important news coming in. UK High Commissioner has reached Ahmedabad. He will be going to the crash site and will also be meeting the family members of those who have lost their lives.
Yeah.
All right. So let me go across to my colleague Aspita Rao, who continues to be live with us from London Airport. Aspita, what we're learning is that British High Commissioner has reached Ahmedabad in just some time. He will be going, in fact, to the crash site, meeting with the family members as well. And tell us about what, in fact, take us through what Keir Starmer has said throughout the day, and also as far as the case is concerned, how the UK has offered to extend help.
Right. So as far as how UK has offered assistance, is that what we know is that there has been passenger support that has been set up in the London Gatwick Airport. So basically, there's a reception or a help center which is active at Gatwick for the families of those on the AI 171. So this support includes UK's consular assistance via a number and Air India's hotline. However, there is one thing that has to be noted, that there was another flight which was scheduled to come to land in the Gatwick Airport at 8:30 British Standard Time or Greenwich Mean Time from Goa. So Goa to London Gatwick. However, that flight has been cancelled. And apart from that, as we know that the British officials, the British Embassy officials, they have they are en route to Ahmedabad, India. And apart from that, Prime Minister Keir Starmer has issued the statement that calling the crash a devastation. However, other assistance as far as is concerned, it is. Can you hear me?
Yes. We'll just go. We'll come back to you, Ashmita. We just have our reporter from Ground Zero. I think there are forensic team. There's a dog squad also over there. Just show us around what's happening. Akhil. Akhil's getting us those visuals coming in from the crash site. You can see that there are the NDRF and SDRF officials there, and you also have also the sniffer dogs at the site. Of course, they are making sure that there is no, there's no sense of life. Of course, there's only one survivor, what we know of. But they are still trying to find out. The investigation is underway. The forensic investigation will also happen. And as we speak, Akhil is back with us. Akhil, tell us more. The investigation continues on ground. And we see that there are more teams right now in the night. Okay, when Akhil is connected, he can start speaking, and I continue to tell, me and Akanksha will continue to describe what has happened. Right now, these are the visuals, of course, of the aftermath that, just trying to recollect viewers what happened in the day. 1:39 was the takeoff time, and right after takeoff, within few seconds, it could not gain height, and it came down crashing. Ball of flame, we could see it turned into a ball of fire, and it was up in flames. Nothing left of the aircraft, as you can see what happened. It crashed into a residential area at a doctor's hostel, and there are multiple casualties in that residential area. And what we know is that there is only one survivor as far as those aboard this flight is concerned, Akanksha.
Absolutely, and state and central government agencies are now coordinating. As we've been showing you the visuals of the crash site incident just a while back, we showed you there's dog squad on the spot as well, along with the NDRF and the SDRF. Absolutely. So we've been showing you visuals of the crash incident site. NDRF, SDRF, they are on the spot. Dog squad is there. They're trying to inspect the area because just a while back Amit Shah spoke and he said that retrieval of bodies, that process is complete now. DNA sample of their family members and the bodies will be taken. As many as 1,000 DNA samples will be taken and they will be matched, and only then the central government will announce the total number of deaths in this case. But definitely as far as the rescue operation is concerned, we've been showing you visuals from the crash site. That is the visual of the crash site during the day, in fact, when the rescue operations had just started. But the retrieval of body process has completed. Let me now go across to Akhil, who continues to track this story closely for us.
3 दिन के बाद आज वापस जा रही थी और ये हादसा हुआ।
क्या नाम था उनका?
उनका निराली सुरेश भाई पटेल।
तो मतलब कब से वहाँ कनाडा में रह रही थी?
वहाँ 5-7 साल से।
तो मतलब आखिरी बार क्या बात हुई जाने से पहले कुछ कभी?
कुछ बात नहीं, वो सरप्राइज देकर चली थी। वो 2 दिन के बाद उनके लड़के की बाबरी थी, वो केस मुंडन होता है ना, वो प्रोग्राम था कनाडा में।
तो वो अपने मतलब बेटा कितनी उम्र का है उनका?
बेटा उसका 2 साल का है।
2 साल का। तो बेटे को सरप्राइज देने जा रही थी वो?
बेटे को सरप्राइज नहीं, वो तो यहाँ से हम माइनर ऑपरेशन करवाने आई थी, लेकिन अपॉइंटमेंट थी और उन्होंने जनाया नहीं था हमें। वो उनकी जो ससुराल है ना, वहाँ ज्ञान दिया था उन्होंने। ससुराल में जानकी थी, वहाँ से वो डायरेक्ट चली गई। उनकी जो मासी जी है वो अहमदाबाद मणिनगर में रहती है, वहाँ उतरी थी वो।
अच्छा।
हाँ, हम गांव में रहते हैं।
अच्छा अच्छा।
हाँ,
तो अपनी मौसी के पास थी, उसके बाद फिर वहाँ से वो कनाडा के लिए रवाना?
कनाडा के लिए रिटर्न हुई।
अच्छा, तो वो मैरिड थी?
मैरिड थी। यहाँ ही पढ़ी थी, बीजे मेडिकल में ही डेंटिस्ट विभाग में पढ़ी थी। यहाँ से
डीएनए टेस्ट हो गया?
हाँ, डीएनए टेस्ट हो गया। दादा आए थे, हमारा पप्पा आए थे।
अच्छा, तो ये आप सभी रिश्तेदार हैं?
दादा है।
अच्छा।
देखा तो नहीं सुनेगा। नहीं, वो मासी जी बोल रहे।
आप मासी हैं? अच्छा, आखिरी बार आपसे ही मिल के गई हैं वो? आपकी आंखें पूरी तरह से नम है, समझ सकते हैं ये जो हादसा हुआ है उसने सिर्फ अहमदाबाद ही नहीं बल्कि पूरे दुनिया देश को ही झकझोर के रख दिया है। आखिरी बार क्या बात हुई?
माफ़ कर दो, ये सब ले गए हमारा इंटरव्यू, अब हमें माफ़ कर दो।
काफ़ी परेशान है परिवार, पूरी तरह से स्तब्ध है और कुछ बोलने के हालात में नहीं है। वाकई में ये जो दुर्घटना हुई है, जो तस्वीरें आई हैं वो काफ़ी विचलित करने वाली है। लेकिन अगर यहाँ पे बात करें तो चूँकि यहाँ पे डीएनए हो रहा है और चूँकि ये प्लेन क्रैश हुआ है और कई ऐसे उसमें शव है जिनको पहचान पाना बहुत ही मुश्किल है, तो डीएनए के ज़रिए जो है उनकी पहचान होगी। ऐसे में यहाँ पर डीएनए जो काउंटर है वो यहाँ पर डीएनए टेस्ट हो रहा है और रिश्तेदार बाहर खड़े हुए हैं जिनका भी डीएनए टेस्ट हो रहा है। उसके बाद वो शवों को लेकर के अपने घर रवाना हो रहे हैं। विजय मुकेश के साथ कोमल बहल, रिपब्लिक भारत।
You know, Kanksha, it's unspeakable pain of those relatives who have lost their loved ones. The bodies are charred. They're so badly burned that it's difficult to even recognize. They can't even recognize their loved ones. They're waiting for the bodies or their remains to be identified after the DNA testing. It's a procedure that takes time as well. And they are under massive distress. And it becomes even more important that such things are never ever repeated. And you know, the aircraft, the airlines and the DGCA should be answering. The Boeing should answer and not just, you know, offer compensation, because those people are not going to come back ever.
Absolutely. Now, there's a need for accountability here. Questions are being asked of Air India, of DGCA and also of Boeing. Remember, we've been telling you about the lapses that have come to fore as far as Air India is concerned. In the last 6 months, in fact, several show-cause notices, several surprise checks have been, in fact, made by DGCA. Show-cause notices have been sent to their CEO, to their other top officials as well, seeking for their response. But all the process has been very slow. Now, people are asking for accountability because people are scared, Rakshita, that they don't want to board the next Air India flight. They are afraid to take that.
Of course, and it's impractical because India has a large number of flyers every day. And this is something that has to be taken seriously. People fly for their businesses, they fly for medical reasons, they fly for all the crucial reasons. And, you know, this cannot be happening now. We're just bringing to you the aircraft's final movement. We can just play that graphic once again and we'll read out what has happened as far as the aircraft is concerned, because if we talk about the final moments, the plane, the moment it crashed, it was a horrible sight, and in the longest time we have never seen such a tragedy happening in the country. And the tail of the plane, you can see the way it has been stuck. It is stuck on the terrace, on the rooftop of that hostel. The fin of the plane on one side and other parts on another side, and thick plumes of black smoke continued to billow. It was all captured on camera. The moment of crash was captured on camera, and everybody was terrified. All those around were terrified, and over 200 on board have lost their lives. All right, viewers, we continue to get you more updates. In fact, there are many people who have raised alarm, Akanksha. There's one flyer, Akash, who had in fact flown from Delhi to Ahmedabad, and he claimed that he was on the same Air India flight, Boeing 787, the same aircraft that just hours later crashed while it took off for London. In fact, he had spoken to us as well, and he shared videos from inside the aircraft saying that the air conditioning and the in-flight entertainment system were not working inside the plane.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Listen in.
No. I was not returning from London to Delhi. I was from Delhi to Ahmedabad sector of the same plane which departed from Ahmedabad to London Gatwick. See, in the tweet, I had shared 2 videos and 2 photographs. So in one of the video, I have recorded like about the AC was not working. The compressor was either going on, off again and again. Right, which is kind of unusual thing. Second thing, as usual, the in-flight entertainment was not working. Yeah. So the AC was not working, on-off, compressor on-off, and then this in-flight entertainment was not working. Then after takeoff, also I noticed something, near the overhead cabin. My seat was 25A. I was just next to the left engine.